Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspot, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. Joined by co-host Jack Kinnicky, bringing you Stats with Jack and everything tactical and statistical that you need to know for Sunday's North London Derby, the big one, where, of course, we will be on the express train right through one side of the Emirates, out the other, as Jack likes to call it, the non-stop. We ain't stopping at the Emirates. But Jack, my man, how are you keeping?
And like I said before, Dave, it's a non-express, 4 train, straight through Woolwich, straight through the Emirates. It's just something that, we just don't stop for them. We don't even concern ourselves with them. Of course, everybody's quite nervous about it. But I would say, Dave, this is the show where, if you're kind of in the pub, maybe you've had a few too many, and you're trying to explain to somebody, this is how we can break down the team. This is how we can hurt the other team. This would be the show where I would say you can just remember maybe what, was explained today and then just say, look, this is how we hurt Arsenal. This is how we hurt the scum. This is how we exploit Kieran Tierney and whatnot. And so I would say, this is the show where you just find yourself to be the smartest man in the pub. Hopefully you can remember enough from this. I know it's a late Friday night for everybody. Whatever you can remember, all I can tell you is you'll be the smartest man in the pub tomorrow.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. No, look, everybody, I know a lot of people are nervous going into North London derbies, but this one, no need to be. Look, the way I see it, we still have to get the best out of Sonny, the best out of Kane. There's more to come from Ndombele, and we have more aggression than that Arsenal team. And I think that will shine through on the day. I think it's going to be one of these games where everything comes to the fore. Kane steps up, Son steps up, and the aggression just outdoes Arsenal. And probably, hopefully, it's a springboard to kickstart the season. Well, look, guys, let's waste no time. Let's see what members of the Harris Army are in. We have Sue Smith turning up for it would be a start, unlike season's debacle. Last season's debacle. Hashtag Levy out, hashtag Enoch out, hashtag Harris Army. No, look, 100%. But do you know what, Sue? I was thinking about this today. We're a different team than what we were last year. We've had a lot more aggression in the team. Look, last year we were letting players run at us. Beating 3-4 lads, letting them run into the box, getting free shots off. No one, putting their bodies on the line. This time we're a different team. For God's sake, Tanganga, he just brings people. He doesn't even tackle anymore. He just rugby tackles them down to the ground every time they come near him. Romero is as aggressive as you like. He steps out before the striker can even touch the ball. He takes that off his toes. You have Skip and Højbjerg, the two meanest men in the Premier League, turning off the ball left, right, and centre. We're a different team this year, Sue, than last year. And look, if they do go with Odegaard and Smith Rowe in that midfield, honestly, Højbjerg and Skippy would be calling in Gordon Ramsay just to season them before they can absolutely cook them. So absolutely love it. But big up, Sue Smith. Ben says, come on, you Spurs. MS says, North London Derby, bro and sisters, 100%, my man. Tottenham Tantrum, beat yourself up, Dermot. What a man, what a legend. He says, hi, guys, looking forward to this North London Derby. I feel very confident we can win. I'll even take a 1-0, but we had one win in 28 games at Arsenal's ground. We had a few draws, so we're due a win. Come on, you Harris Army. What I will say to you is I'm pretty sure they've scored at least one goal in nearly every single one of them games as well. So I think the odds are that they probably will score this weekend. But a lot of people seem to think not with how aggressive our defence is and everything else. So only time will tell. But Jack, do you want to say anything to Dermot?
Dermot, I know you're a man of stats, Dave, because he's been sending me the stats. Honestly, Dermot, again, I'll just say it to you publicly, Dermot, that the work that you're putting in for your show in the future is honestly unbelievable. And as well, Dermot, all I can say is I'm loving these stats, and maybe, the history at the Emirates. All I can say is in the future, I think, and especially on Sunday, I think it's just going to be a whole different type of game, Dave. I'm going for the 1-0. I'm going for the 1-0 because I think with Nuno, as much as people like to call Nuno negative football, I could care less, Dave. I couldn't care less at this rate. All I want is that 1-0, at the Emirates. They just get shut out. Odegaard, goes home crying back to Norway. Maybe Emil Smith Rowe just rows his boat back up the up the river as well. All I can say, Dave, is just hopefully we get that clean sheet, maybe like a Harry Kane penalty. I just want the most painful win possible for them, Dave. The most painful win of all. That's all I want, Dave. I don't even want a 3-0. I just want a 1-0 because I know it'd just be absolutely cloak and dagger, Simeone style.
No, 100%. Look, do you know what? I actually don't care how the result comes, whether it's a smash and grab 1-0. For Jesus Christ, Harry Winks and Ben Davies used to wearing balaclavas around anyway. So, it should be no problem with them wearing one into the Emirates and stealing the 3 points. But look, as well, if you look back, I think it's over the last 17 North London derbies or something like that. They're pretty much even. We've both won the same amount and drawn the same amount. So it's pretty even the last run of North London derbies. But look, Dermot, Jack, I heard Dermot, he went out and got that new whiteboard paint where you can paint your wall and it turns into a whiteboard and it has all the stats. It's going mad. It has arrows going in everywhere and everything. Big yourself up, Dermot.
The statisticians of the Harris Army, and they practically get, they would get an algorithm passed, at Harvard, David. Not only, a bill passed in Congress, they get like an algorithm passed, a certain math problem that's never been solved. That's the Harris Army, Dave. The intelligence is unbelievable.
Dark Song G won't be happy, Dermot's giving him heat now, Dermot's coming on to him with the stats, he's battling it out, but big yourself up, my man, appreciate it, Dermot. The regular says, come on, you Spurs, 3 points is a must on Sunday. Yeah, look, it's also a given, I'd say, I know a lot of people say form goes out the window, this, that, and the other, but just my feeling is, I just think our aggression will win out on the day, I really do, that's just my opinion, but regular, honestly, get the pina coladas ready, whatever, get your little umbrellas that you can pop into it, get a side portion of dry roasted or salted nuts, even a mixture, and just enjoy the game, man. 3 points incoming. Make sure you're ready to receive them. Dylan Thomas says, Gil will score a Rabona, bets are on. Yeah, look, I hope so. That'd be nice, customary Rabona.
Better hair for a Rabona too, Dave, because when you do a Rabona like that, the hair would probably swift to the other side. I just think the whole replay of the goal probably would be a whole lot better. And then as well, all I can say is just, the Harris Army, just believe. The 1-0 is, the 1-0 is imminent. And also don't think we're being too optimistic here. This is the channel you go to for, if you want to believe that we will win and you want to believe that, we're going to take it to the scum, this is the channel that you go to because we give you all the reasons for how we can win. We don't kind of dilly and dally about, maybe, it'll be a tough game and whatnot. We'll give you the reasons for why we'll win. And we'll also give you the reasons for why the scum might be a bit dangerous. But at the same time, like I said before, you'll be the smartest man in the pub, come Sunday.
No, 100%. I can't wait for it. There's going to be so many people walking in there, cocking a walk tomorrow after listening to Stats with Jack. Walking in, whistling, waiting for people to talk about. And the next thing, boom, there you are. There's all the stats you need, lads. Absolutely love it. Big up, Old Soul. He says, big up, lads and ladies. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up.
Big up, Old Soul.
Januska Ramshunder's in the building. Big yourself up. Becoming she seems to be in all the streams lately. A real fan. Big yourself up, Januska. She's trying to be confident going into the North London derby, but very nervous, but must be positive. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Nah, look.
Legend.
Look, I get the nervousness, but you know what? Screw it. You're supposed to enjoy these occasions, the rivalry, the intenseness, the bragging rights and everything. Just enjoy it. I get the nervous and I get the apprehension of people going into it, but Jesus Christ, when you're a Spurs fan, this is the fixture you look out for every single year. The start of the season, when the fixtures, when is Arsenal? That's the one. Just enjoy it, revel in it. This is what these derby games are about. If we're nervous, they'll sense that, and we can't give them that. Big yourself up, Zanuska. Hotspur Juggernaut says, come on, you Spurs, big yourself up. Jack Paro Miguel Escobardo's in. North London derby loading. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. See this, Coys. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. That's customary now. That's customary. Everyone has to do it.
I'll let Paro Miguel on a quick little secret, Dave. He wants actually his first scout report, because I'm always asking the Flat Cap Army, what requests do they have for the scout reports that are coming out with that new series that we're doing over at the sister channel, Dave. And he said he wants Anthony actually to be his first scout report, his first match report. So all I can tell you, Paro Miguel, that might be one maybe led by David, if not joined by David. So all I can say, that's why I wanted you, to do that one, because I know you'll absolutely love it, Paro Miguel, because it'll actually be joined by both of us. And I'll let you in on a little bit of secret, Paro Miguel. Anthony, as much as I rate him and love him in real life, David is absolutely ridiculous with that guy in FIFA. I actually start to, I call Anthony all sorts of names, saying, how did this guy, he's better than Messi in FIFA. David is honestly unbelievable with that guy with Ajax. So all I can tell you, Pari Miguel, it's going to be a bit of, it's going to be nice for me to do that scout report, but I know David's going to enjoy it a little bit more.
No, 100%. Look, I'm a big fan of this kid. Absolutely love him. Yeah, like Jack says, look, I definitely know how to use him in FIFA, that's for sure. But look, FIFA 22 is upon us, just for everybody else out there. Look, me and Jack got a few sneaky games in last night. Of course, it is coming out next week, but me and Jack got a few sneaky games in last night. And look, Jack is the better, but we've one more game to decide the second title. So we'll get on to that very, very shortly. But guys,
and if you want in on the banter, if you want in on the smack talk between Dave and I, gets a little heated at times. You probably wouldn't even think that, we work together at a certain rate, when we're barking at each other at this. So I would just say, everybody, Dave and I are coming out with the Twitch. We're going to put it on YouTube as well on flatcapeurotalk. But I just say, if you're interested in FIFA, especially maybe David and I playing it with each other, just, there's no place to miss other than flatcapeurotalk for that.
No, it's definitely going to be a bit of crack for sure. Honestly, it's an absolute ball. It's an absolute world. It's a great time. Look, I absolutely hate losing. I'll admit that. I do not like losing in anything I do. So it'd be very, very interesting. Look, it's definitely going to be entertaining. That's for sure. Stephen Cullen says this guy is a clown. So much for his winning tactics against Chelsea. Look, just
might be talking about Nuno. It might be talking about Nuno. Maybe Stephen Cullen. Yeah. All I can say is that Nuno, he knows how to get a scalp, and I would say Thomas Tuchel at this rate, practically, the most undefeated manager in world football at the moment. Even Pep Guardiola has tipped his flat cap, even though Pep Guardiola never deserves a flat cap. He's tipped his flat cap, to Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is, almost unbeatable at this rate, Dave. Almost unbeatable.
Yeah, 100%. Says, Tanguy to be the boy to get us to win. Big yourself up, Amzy. We have MS says, good stuff. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up, MS. Benvindo Shozi says, we are away. We will lose. By the way, I deserve a pat on the back for that pronunciation. Absolutely spot on again. Honestly, when they just come at me, I'm good on the spot. But yeah, we are away. Will we lose? Look, being honest, you tend to look at the forms of not the form, but the way the North London derbies tend to lie. The home team tends to usually tends to win the game. But with Tottenham Hotspur, Kane's going to come alive. Son's going to come alive. And like I said, they cannot match the aggression. They don't want it. They do not want it. We're going to turn the Emirates into the biggest library in North London. It's going to be so quiet when we finish banking them. Big up, Bermavindo. David says, my favourite show, Stats with Jack. Let's beat the Gooners. Get those 3 points. Big yourself up, Dottie. What a man. Hope things are well with you over there in the US of A, my man. Big yourself up. Good to see you in. Shamu, my man. Tuning all the way from New Zealand. Big yourself up. Hope things are well. Shamu always has the best shirts. Always, sending me pictures of the shirts he's going to buy. And, he wants the Harris Army approval to make sure.
He's a stylish man, Dave. He's a stylish man, Shamu.
Big up, Shamu. Big up, Shamu. And, of course, one of the leading foot soldiers of the Harris Army. He makes everyone get the likes and everything else. So big up, Shamu. Big up, Shamu. Everyone big him out for the work he does for us as well. And by the way, Shamu, I tried to make you a mod. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the story is, but I'm gonna look into it for you, my man. And David says, leave you out, unique out, David Army. Where's your flat cap? Jack's not gonna be impressed. He says, hello, Shamu, a great job on Jack's channel. Yeah, big up Shamu as well.
He absolutely elevated, the flat cap bitch of the week show. He absolutely elevated Shamu, and I'm actually quite proud of him. But also, I'm just like I said, Dave, I needed a partner in crime for that show because it's a bit of crack for me. It's actually probably the show that's probably the least professional of anything of the the flat cap Euro Talk shows. And now Shamu just made it professional, just raised it to that bar because now Shamu and I can debate between each other. Which itch should the Harris Army go after? And it's honestly unbelievable, Dave, how much people have caught on. Sanushka, Old Soul, David, all these people are like, no, I think this itch won it. No, I think Shamu, explained it right. It's actually elevated the whole show entirely. So Shamu, big yourself up. But as well, I'm actually so proud of the Harris Army for maybe understanding why I love that show so much. So really, they're honestly unbelievable, Dave. I mean, the intelligence of the Harris Army is unbelievable.
Nah, it really is. Anthony Berryman says, how are we a different team? We have conceded 10 goals in the last 4 games. We have won once in 28 games. Get real. You're deluded, mate. We can keep clean sheets. We can't keep clean sheets even against Palace and Wolves. Well, look, what I will say to you is don't forget the first time out against Wolves, we kept a clean sheet. And we have also kept 3 clean sheets this season, 1 against City, 1 against Wolves, and the other one against Watford. So the evidence is there that we can keep clean sheets. But if you actually look at it,
that's more clean sheets than the scum. That's more clean sheets than the scum.
And injuries and everything else, with not being able to get a stable defence out there since them 3 games, yes, has cost us goals. You are correct. But look, I am deluded. I'll admit I am deluded. Look, I just like to be positive, and that's just me. But at the end of the day, look, I do think we're different in terms of how aggressive we are, about how we go about winning back the ball. We are different. If you go back and watch it from last season to this season, last season we retreated and tried to wait for the ball. This season we're being proactive, trying to go and win the ball. So we are different. We are a lot more aggressive, I would say, Anthony. But look, it's subjective. That's only my opinion, and you're more than entitled to yours, my man. Big yourself up. Let's see who else we have here. We have Paz13, Paul always Spurs. Love the optimism. Is it the hope that kills us?
Pick up, Paul.
Here's the aggression you speak of, though. Yeah, no, it is the hope that kills us. It really is the hope that kills us. Look, the aggression is in Tanganga, Romero, Skip. You have Højbjerg there. There's plenty of aggression there. Dyer, he's been aggressive when he's played. There's plenty of aggression in that team.
The Bermuda Triangle, Dave. The Bermuda Triangle of death, I would say. Especially if Japhet, Højbjerg, Skippy, Romero. Like we said, it's not even Bermuda Triangle, Dave. It's Bermuda Square of death. And I would just say, if we see a couple bone fragments maybe fly from the air, from some of the tackles that they lay, it's not Romero's fault. It's not Højbjerg's fault. It's just because the Arsenal players just didn't train enough in the summer, Dave. They're going to be showing them the weight room.
No, 100%. They definitely are. Faz Radfar says 3-0 Spurs. Harry Hattrick. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Faz.
Come on, Faz.
Dan N says, come on, you Spurs. I hate playing at the Emirates. Never an easy game.
Never.
No, it never is. But look, I'm just confident. I don't know why I just have this confidence going into this one. Sarah Patek says, big up the Harris Army. Big yourself up. Cody Back's in the building. Big up, Cody. Hope things are well.
Cody. Come on.
We have Silent Dove pictures. Come on, you flat caps. Big yourself up, my man. Appreciate that. Adam McFarlane's in the building. Hope things are well. Derek Hutchinson, my man, says, big up you two guys. Big yourself up. Joseph Monin says, come on, you Spurs. Harris Army, 2-0, Son and Kane. Fuck it. Why not go 4-0, 2 each? Absolutely love it.
Great comment.
Absolutely
Great comment.
We have Derek Gitonga says the amount of confidence coming from the Spurs fans is making me a little skeptical for Sunday. Yeah, I can understand it.
But we did say in the beginning of the week, Dave, you have to save face. It doesn't matter. This is the week where you have to be the most deluded. If you're not even one of those people that likes to go into, you're probably a bit more level-headed. All I can say is you can't be going to a North London derby, thinking, oh, we're going to lose or whatnot. You have to go into it absolutely deluded. If you're not, I would question, maybe your willingness to win, I would say at this rate, because especially in North London derby, you have to go into it absolutely deluded, knowing that you're going to win. And we even said, Dave, it's all about who wants it more. And clearly from this panel right now, just the two of us, we clearly want it more than the rest of them, Dave.
No, 100%. Look, I do get it, especially with some of the older folks. Look, they've been through the mill in North London derbies. For God's sake, they've watched Arsenal dominate them for a few years here and there. Look, I can understand the skepticism. Like, look, they know what's coming. But me, I'm willing to, put myself out there. I'm willing to take the egg on the face after, not a problem. But look, everyone has a different way of supporting the club, and that's what it comes to,
Well said, Dave. Well said.
Michael Bennett says Gil has to start over Mora every day. Big yourself up, my man. Let's see who else.
When I saw that pen.
I'm not gonna leave her. Absolutely love it. Mr. DP says Jason Cundy doubted this. The El Crapico. Bit harsh, but had to laugh. Yeah, change the D to a T and you get that guy's proper name. That's what I'd say there. Aidan Doherty says, I'm back. Hi, guys. Big yourself up, my man. Hope things are well. Let's see who else we have. Golden Cox in. Big up, everyone. Nothing like chilling out in the evening with the Harris Army. Come on, you Spurs. Honestly, best place to be in town, and especially when you've nothing else to be doing, my man.
Safest place, the coolest place, practically, the place where you can just hang out, just sit, wherever you are. Maybe you're outside, maybe you're just, on a bench, maybe you're at home on the couch, or even in bed still. All I can say, it's the coolest place to be, especially if you're just going to be hanging out, just relaxing, like I said, with a bit of those pre-nerves, Dave, no better place to be right now.
No better place to be, lad. No better place to be. Honestly, by the time they've finished watching this, They're going to be smashing their heads off keyboards and everything else. Can't wait for the North London derby. Trust me. Lazy says, I kind of want to see Dele in the midfield on Sunday to hold Tangai's hand and Pierre doing the heavy lifting. Yeah, no, 100%. Look, I can definitely see what you're saying. Look, for me, I would actually go with Pierre and Skip and start Tanguy a bit further ahead of them. But look, I do think Nuno probably will go with Pierre, Skip and Dele first half and look to bring Tanguy into the game. But big yourself up, Nick. Hope things are well with you, my man. Hope you got plenty of sleep too over the last few days, my man. And we have Matthew Baker says, Brian Gill is clear of Messi, if we're being honest. No, look, Brian Gill, look, I'm definitely a believer. I think everyone else out there needs to be a believer. Look, I do think this guy is going to be quality in years to come, and I do think he'll definitely start showing it this season. But guys, look, make sure everyone does smash that like button. Make sure everyone smashes that subscribe button. And look, why not support me and Jack with a super chat too? It's a great way to support the channel. Every YouTuber, you know, that doesn't have sponsorships and everything else, it's a massive, massive help to the platform, to the channel. And look, guys, you know, look, I do get impatient. Look, I see kids queuing up for a 99 on a roasting hot day. I see that strawberry syrup dripping down the ice cream. Honestly, you think I'm waiting? No, I'm paying that kid for the cone. So why not skip the chat queue with the super chat, guys? But big yourselves up. And Jack, my man, let's take it away.
Let's take it away. And maybe before I do that, I would just say Matthew Baker, you know, I was talking to Statman Dave today, practically my idol, practically my own, you know, kind of messiah, I would say, Statman Dave. And I brought the Brian Hill Messi, you know, reference to him. I said, do you think Brian Hill Messi will be able to come through for Spurs this Sunday? He understood the reference, and he is a Man United fan, and he understood the reference. So that just shows Brian Hill Messi. It's getting through to people. You're just going to have to understand that this guy is going to be the next wave, you know, of beautiful talent coming out of Spain. And so the fact that, you know, my own idol, Dave, understood that reference, you know, regarding Brian Hill Messi just shows, you know, it's only spoken to, you know, he's going to become the man that we all believe he's going to be. But let's just crack into it, lads.
Yeah, just before you do, look, Anthony, he says, you're not talking sense, mate. No, look, you know, look, I'm deluded. Sometimes I don't make sense 100%. He says, of course, we all support Tottenham and want them to win. But some of us have been supporting Tottenham for so long, know what Tottenham do to you. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, we do.
That's what I'm saying. Look, I get some of the skepticism and the hurt that some of the other guys have been through. Don't get me wrong. I fully understand it, my man. Look, I'm just one of them guys. I'm a bit brash, you know, a bit cocky. I'm going into it with my chest out. That's all it is. But big yourself up, my man.
Definitely. And Anthony Berriman, hopefully maybe just after this, even if you want to stay, you know, level-headed about it, hopefully you at least know, you know, maybe how we can at least break down, you know, Arsenal, because, you know, if you want to, you know, still think that, you know, we won't have anything to take out of Sunday, at least you can know where we went wrong. At least you can know how we could have exploited them. That's the whole point of the show. As much as maybe David, maybe, and I hyped up everybody, you know, in order to grab this point, I would say this show is actually one of the most level-headed shows that we give, Dave, because we actually give a lot of respect to the opposition, Anthony Berriman. That's all I can say. We give a lot of respect to the opposition about how they can even break us down. So at least we know that, you know, we're trying to be level-headed about this from here on out. We just maybe in the first 20 or 30 minutes like to hype everybody up and make sure that they know that, you know, the 3 points is still at large.
No, 100%. Well, look, Jacko, let's take it away, my man.
No, let's break it down, Dave. With the cold hard facts, always as per usual, Spurs have never lost 3 consecutive fixtures by 3+ goals in our entire history. So all I can say is, just from that day, we probably have a very strong chance. Hopefully, I don't want to break the camel's back on this one, Dave, but all I can say is hopefully we don't concede another 3 goals again. It really seems like a very unlikely feat for us to, you know, to overcome in that regard. Since 1999, Arsenal have actually scored at least once at home against Spurs. This is a very damning stat, I would say, Dave. So it seems like every single time, whether it be at Woolwich, whether it be at the Emirates, you know, whatever horrible stadium, all I can say, Dave, is that, you know, at home for Arsenal, for the scum, we know that they're actually capable of scoring. At least in the last 30 years, they've been capable of it. So all I can say, Dave, or 20 years, excuse me, we know that they're capable of it. So I would say maybe now is the time for Nuno to give that sneaky 1-0, that cloak and dagger 1-0. That's all I can say, Dave. I'm just praying for it. Moving on to the next cold hard fact, Tottenham have won just one of their last 28 league games against Arsenal. Excuse the typo there. Yeah, all I can say is I think that has everything to do with, you know, the games at Woolwich. That's a bit of a typo there. I do apologize. In that regard, I would just say, you know, now's the time. And actually, the last time that Spurs did win away, though, Dave, was against Arsenal on November 20th, 2010 and a 3-2 win. And the scores, and it was a bit of a comeback win. I wasn't actually really too present for that one, Dave. I think that was just around the time I was becoming a Spurs fan. I was practically about 13 at the time, 14 at the time. I was around, the time I was becoming a Spurs fan, but, I was kind of busy with a bit of other things, almost developmental age at that rate. And I was, but apparently, Dave, we actually had a bit of a comeback victory in that case where Bale, Rafael van der Vaart, and Jonas Kabul were actually, the goal scorers for that one, and a 3-2 win away from home as well. So all I can say is if we're able to repeat anything like that, I'd be absolutely delighted, Dave.
No, 100%. Look, all the stats here are just basically saying, look, Emirates, it's a tough place to go to. It's always notoriously been a tough place to go to for Tottenham. Do you know what, Jack? Look, I don't care about any of them stats. Look, I don't, because at the end of the day, it's down to who wants it more. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We want it more than them. I just have that feeling. The results coming. The 3 points are coming. I just have that feeling. Look, it is going to be a tough place to go. But this is a kicking off point for both teams this season. I firmly believe whoever wins this, it'll be a launch pad for their season. It really will. So it'll be very interesting to see what it says. But look, Jack, God himself, Jesus himself, they love underdogs. They love an underdog. And I don't mind going into this being the underdog. Look, at the end of the day, Arsenal scored 2 goals this season. Screw them. That's what I say. MS says, come on, you Spurs. We are the Tottenham.
Come on, MS. Come on, MS. Love that. Absolutely love it.
Anthony Berryman, this is why he's in a bad mood, Jack. He says, it's worse for me, guys. I have had lots of grief over the years as my brother and dad support Arsenal.
Oh, that's horrible. Anthony, I see where you're coming from now. I see where you're coming from. You're just waiting for maybe the banter, but all I can say, Anthony, is hopefully you just save face for this week. Maybe save the best kind of banter, maybe the nicknames that David's been talking about this week. Hopefully you have a few of those as well. Emil Smith can't rowboat, Dave. I know I'm going to save the best for you. Maybe Kieran Tiny as well, Dave. Maybe, Lachonga, the new signing as well. So hopefully, maybe you have a bit of those nicknames signed up, in case we're able to get those 3 points away from home, Dave.
Yeah, look, Anthony, I'll give you a few to use once we win. Look, Lachonga can be called the Conga, the one that me and Jack will be doing around the Emirates once we've won the 3 points. You have Kieran Tiny, you have Ben Shite, you have, who else have you got there? You've got Thomas the broken down tank engine in midfield. You've got Emil Smith, cannot row a boat. You've got Lacazette up front. You've got Boom Shaka Laka in midfield. That is Granit Xhaka. You've got a boom or bust, mainly bust up front to Aubameyang. You got Saka shit there. Who else have we got? We've got Gabriel. Don't have one for him. It's a shame that Tree or Bellerin is gone too. I used to have fun. And you've got Ramrod in goals. You've got Team Ramrod in goals.
And Sean Snow just provided us with Tiramisu, Dave. Tiramisu, the new signing, for Arsenal as well. Sonny's going to eat a tiramisu. Legend, Sean Snow. Sammy Playa here saying, cracking late night content, lads. Keep it up. Here's what I would say, Sammy, is, normally this is a bit past, Dave Knight's bedtime, but we just figured, this is kind of the time maybe to connect with a bit of the American fan base, which is a bit kind to me, I would say, the American fan base, as well the Australian, Oceania, as well as East Asian fan base has been very, very kind to us as well. So hopefully maybe you guys are up, for this content. And I know a lot of people are at work. Maybe, they're already asleep by now, but we just figured, like I said before, maybe in case you're waking up early tomorrow or going to the pub tomorrow, or even, going to the pub on Sunday, at least you might be the smartest man in the building, Dave. That's all I can say.
No, 100%. Look, Sammy, really appreciate it, my man. Look, we usually kick off at 9:30 every night. This one has been a bit later because I was a bit greedy today. I wanted to go and do my Astro, so it's my fault. But look, my man, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm really, really happy you're enjoying it and hope to see you a lot more around here, my man. And look, what I will say, stay tuned. Honestly, wait until you see, some of the stuff we have coming up in this show. It's going to rock your socks off. Look, the rest of the Harris Army, they've all seen it already, before. But honestly, you're going to be mind blown. You're just going to be seeing it's going to make you smash that subscribe, my man. But big up, Sammy. Really appreciate it. What a man. And then we have David with the super chat. Big yourself up. He says, they're always up for it at the Emirates. Spurs better be ready. Don't want to see players jogging around.
No.
Son's dad needs to wake them up Sunday morning. Look, if Son's dad woke them up Sunday morning, he'd have them doing some sort of military camp before the game. No, look, it is a notorious place. It's a notorious hard place to go to. but we'll be ready. Look, Højbjerg, virtually attacked Arteta in the preseason friendly.
In a preseason.
All the players that happen. All the Arsenal players that happen. They don't want the aggression. They were afraid to go up to Højbjerg. They were afraid because Højbjerg would end up walking around like a chicken with two Arsenal players under his arms giving them a nuggie. You know what I mean? Honestly, they're too afraid. They didn't want the aggression. They don't want it. That's why they let Højbjerg attack Arteta the way he did. Because they don't want it. They're too weak. Trust me. We'll be ready for this. We will be ready for this. The mentality is slowly starting to improve, I think. And I do think we'll be ready. Big up, David. Let me know.
David's so ready. I will tell you, David, he's so ready for the pre-match pump up. And then that's actually, David gets you pumped up for the match. It's actually Sonny's dad that gets David pumped up for the pre-match pump up. It's actually Sonny's dad that actually is, practically, making David do laps, before the pre-match pump up, telling him, what it takes, in order to sacrifice for the Harris Army, for the We Are Tottenham TV army as well. So all I can say, David, it's actually Sonny's dad that's actually practically all over David, in order to get the fans hyped up. So it's actually almost a symbiotic relationship, or it's a full cycle.
No, it definitely is. Look, Sonny's dad, if he got a hold of me, lad, he wouldn't be too happy with me, I'll tell you that. I'm a bit lazy for him. But look, guys, honestly, I cannot wait, to watch the game on Sunday and see all the Sky Sports cameras with the Arsenal fans frothing out the mouth, jumping around the Emirates like raccoons after they lose. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. But big up, David. Really appreciate the support, my man. Everyone else, feel free to help support the channel, guys. With a super chat or two, or even grab yourself a channel membership for all the fan shows every Monday. But Jack, let's crack on with some more, my man.
The head-to-head here, I think the first little stat there is just, it's just looking at the entire history between the two sides. We've won 66, lost 83, unfortunately, and then drawn 54. But in fact, Dave, Nuno's record against Arteta, which must be said, is entirely against Wolves, during his time at Wolves. Nuno has a positive record against Arteta. In fact, he has 2 wins and 1 loss against Arteta, which I would say is quite hopeful in my opinion. I think that's actually, a bit of a optimism for me. Of course, we love to cling on to that, Dave, but I can say, it gives me a bit of optimism, as well as Mikel Arteta, I would say, or Mikel Arteta in this case, Dave. His record against Spurs is only 1 win and 2 losses. Of course, that last time where we did go to the Emirates, Dave, was a bit of a disappointing one, but when you do think about it, that was Arteta's only win, coaching the side as well. So he's actually been embarrassed plenty of times when going over to our side. Maybe this is the time that we embarrass him in his own house, Dave. That's all I can say from this head-to-head right here. But I feel like, Dave, unless you have anything to say about this, is there anything that gives you a bit of optimism maybe from Nuno's stats or Mikel Arteta's stats?
Yeah, the fact that Arteta has lost more than what he's won, that gives me great hope. Yeah. And look, what I will say is that I like the way that the losses and the wins are starting to even out a little bit. And the longer Arteta stays, the more you're going to see that even out. And I can't wait till it does, because it's what all of us Spurs fans have been seeing for the last few years, is the decline of Arsenal. So that will really drive them absolutely nuts. Brilliant. Love it.
And I would say, Dave, maybe the next part of this for the Harris Army, it's a bit of that part where you're kind of like going through a tunnel, Dave. You kind of hold your breath, kind of situation is where we actually kind of have to break down maybe how, the scum might hurt us. But I will say, in all these animations that we're about to break down as well in the future, in all these situations, I do allow the scum to put us in dangerous situations. But, considering, Dave, they've only scored 2 goals the entire Premier League season. I actually have them practically missing all of these beautiful chances as well. So it only makes sense. If you ask me, it only makes sense. But Arsenal's formation, I'm actually going to be basing it off of how they played against Burnley, Dave, which is to a degree, a quite attacking formation. And considering, Dave, they're actually at home, I actually feel like they might go for pretty much a similar version of what they did against Burnley, because they're going to be at home, right? They wouldn't really want to go for a back 5 or a back 3 unless it's super attacking, right? Because they are going to be at home. They want to get the win. They want to be able to, it's practically their cup final, at this rate, Dave. So they're going to have to go for an attacking formation. And it really looks like this. Defensively, it's like a 4-2-3-1. But really, going forward, it's like a 4-1-4-1, or practically like a 3-1-5-1, because Kieran Tierney over here, Dave, he actually gets very far forward. He gets very far forward. And in fact, if you even look at his heat maps on SofaScore, Dave, he's actually more often actually on the other side of the pitch than he even is in his own half. So it's practically the signing of Tiramisu here, Dave. It's really actually more like a 3-1-5-1 going forward, and then a 4-2-3-1 defensively. I mean, of course, maybe we might not get their starting 11 right, but how do you feel like maybe by that logic that considering they're at home, Dave, they'll probably need to be a bit more attacking than us, and they might just go with what they did against Burnley, which is exactly the lineup here.
Honestly, look, they can't afford to sit back, Jack. The Emirates will go nuts if they're sitting back against us. Look, what I will say is I've done a bit of digging into myself. You are 100% correct in that Tomiyasu does come in when they attack. He forms a tree at the back and allows Tierney to push forward. But what I will say is there's going to be a lot of space in behind Tierney. If we can't walk over, we need to keep our winger high and just put it in there. Or even if Harry Kane is playing up top, at least he knows he can shift to that side and he will receive a lot of ball in there with a lot of space and time around him. You get one of the midfielders breaking out, you get Son breaking, that could put us in a potential 3-on-3 and, it creates chances. One thing I am aware of, that midfield tree actually, Jack, it does tend to be pretty open. There is a lot of room in and around that midfield.
There is.
A big plus. And if we've Tanguy in there, they can't afford to be giving him that room. But look,
do you feel like Thomas Partey is going to have to it's almost like Højbjerg from last season, Dave. He's going to have a lot of responsibility, making up for the likes. Of course, maybe Emile Smith-Rowe might understand the occasion, but he's still a very attacking player, very attacking minded player, you might say. And then also at Odegaard as well. I mean, Odegaard did have a good match, at the Emirates last season against us, but then, away from home, he didn't have a good match. So all I can say is that if they're trusting Odegaard to maybe be that, midfielder that tracks back a bit, unless he really is able to all of a sudden become a very defensively minded midfielder, would you say Thomas Partey has a lot on his hands?
He's a hell of a lot on his hands. Because look, Smith-Rowe and Odegaard will break. I know Odegaard plays that bit deeper, but he will get forward and he will break. And look, my biggest thing is if Skip and Højbjerg can turn the ball over off them two, we're straight at Thomas Partey. And what can he do? He's left exposed. Look, at the end of the day, Jack, we have to remember the pictures from last year. He had to be pushed back on in the North London derby. And we still went and scored. Thomas Partey can definitely be exposed. They're asking an awful lot from Thomas Partey in that midfield. An awful lot. And no wonder why they can't keep him on the pitch if they're asking that much out of him.
Yeah, I would say it maybe really well said, Dave, actually. Caught me a bit off guard with how well that was said, I would say, Dave. And just maybe all I can say is maybe what we saw when what we put Højbjerg through last season, and him asking, to do almost two jobs, for two people, doing more than one job, I would say, like we asked a Højbjerg last season. Thomas Partey, especially in this situation, Dave, I think it's going to be quite similar to Højbjerg. In my opinion, I really do rate Thomas Partey, Thomas Partey, in my opinion, but all I can say is, Dave, like I said, he's going to have a lot asked of him. And I think that only maybe plays into our hands a bit. Of course, maybe they might be quite dangerous going forward because Odegaard has been quite brilliant this season in creating chances. But at the same time, he's really not a defensive-minded player. So hopefully we'll be able to burn them in that way.
Yeah, just quickly, the only thing I will say is that Xhaka is back from injury. So you might see him maybe come in for one of them.
That only means a certain creativity then would be taken away from that side, Dave, in my opinion, because Odegaard, if Granit Xhaka comes into that team, that only means maybe a certain red card might be shown maybe a bit later. And then as well, you probably could say that maybe in Odegaard's case, he's actually been the reason why they have actually had, these 2-goal performances over 2 games. It's just because Odegaard's been able to open up the space a bit more, being able to put in very looping balls into the box from the left-hand side of the midfield. He's been playing like a creative number 8 for them, Dave. So as much as Granit Xhaka, I would say, is quite good at maybe grabbing cards quite early in the game, I would say Odegaard would be the one that I would be more worried about, just because Odegaard is actually very good at creating chances for the side. And Granit Xhaka, he's been decent for his home team. He's been decent for, the national side, probably decent at home. I'd probably maybe argue maybe Granit Xhaka, but I would just say, it is always a risk, playing him, especially maybe in these occasions, because, it's almost like the occasion gets to his head, Dave.
Yeah, but look, it'll also be very defensive on his behalf, especially at home in the North London derby. And it'll be changing up the team from the team that has won the last 2 games. So it's a big call. But look, if I was Arteta, honestly, I wouldn't be bringing him in. This guy doesn't even like the club. He threw the jersey on the ground when he was took off. Honestly, the guy doesn't even want to be there himself. But look, to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter who is in midfield because we're going to eat them up anyway. Like I said, Gordon Ramsay come in, season them, and let Højbjerg and Skip cook them. But look, that's just something worth to keep note of, that Granit Xhaka might come in because he is back.
Definitely so. And David here saying double derby for me. Sunny from South Korea will kill Tomiyasu or Tiramisu from Japan. Dave, I mean, this is going to be a really fascinating one, I would say, because Tomiyasu is also maybe similar to Thomas Partey, is going to have a big task on his hands because he's going to be dealing with the bombing Sonny and hopefully bombing, wing back of Region as well. I mean, as much as maybe Japhet Tanganga can handle two people at once, under his shoulders, we'll see whether Tomiyasu will be able to do it. I'm not so sure because people are praising him after his performance against Burnley, after his performance against Norwich as well, Dave. So all I can say is maybe this might be a bigger test for him, especially considering that Tomiyasu will have to deal with Region and Sonny practically at the same time.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, it's going to be a tough ask for him. It really is because, look, Pepe, I can't see him getting back too much, to be honest with you, PP, and he will lose the ball an awful lot up the other end. So, no, look, he's a tough task in his hand, but look, he's a player we didn't want. He will be out there with a point to prove, probably, but look, Sonny will dispatch him. Sonny's coming to town, baby. It's going to be the Sun show. He rocked up in the North London Derby last season. He's going to do it again this season. Big up, Dave, my man. Really appreciate the support. Top man. And everyone else, feel free to send in a super chat too. I know it's a big bad world out there. Not everyone can afford it. So I will keep bringing up comments. Don't worry about that, guys.
All I can say to you, Eowyn, is that's what you guys did against Burnley, and that's what I've also heard from plenty of Arsenal pundits as well, that this is something that they might repeat. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really like to pride myself on being an expert on the scum, Eowyn. So it's actually a bit of pride for me actually not to know too much about the opposition in this case. Usually I like to inform myself a lot more on them, but all I can say, that's exactly the lineup that you guys rocked against Burnley. You rocked a pretty similar one against Norwich as well. So all I can say is I'm just working with what I know, when I'm just working with what I know here.
No, big look. It is what it is. Look, at the end of the day,
I don't like to pride myself on being a scholar on the scum, Dave.
At the end of the day, every line you put out, it is a guess on the lineup. No one can ever know it for sure. But look, at the end of the day, you're only going off what you've seen against Burnley. I don't see what the problem is, Owen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but maybe you can correct us. You maybe as more of an expert on that case. But our key player, Dave, is going to be, the Scum's number 10. It is going to be, unfortunately, Emile Smith-Rowe. And the reason why I highlighted him is because, at the end of the day, it's someone that I do kind of fear. It is someone that I do fear because if he is given lots of space, the guy is actually quite talented on the ball. He is actually very good at, applying pressure in the middle, finding himself in good spaces. And so all I can say is that he is someone I am quite worried about. He is someone that I would say if we're able to take out of this game, we're definitely going to find a lot of freedom. He is their number 10. He is kind of their source of creativity for the most part as well. If you are able to take Emile Smith-Rowe out of the game, you can find maybe a lot more freedom and be able to probably win the game. He is tied for the most shots on target, which is only 4 for the Scum this season, which is actually quite low, I must admit. And then also he's tied for the most progressive passes with 17 this season, Dave. Most players dribbled past. This is where I'm kind of talking about. Emile Smith-Rowe at the end of the day is quite decent on the ball. He's quite tidy on the ball, Dave. So all I can say is, in my case, I am quite fearful of that. He is very good. He has the short socks, Dave, the short shin pads. As much as I hate to see a guy, playing for the Scum shirt, wearing the short shin pads, I will say, it just is only the sign of a decent player on the ball usually. And also as well, Dave, he has the second most progressive carries. Maybe if you just take those 4, stats, from the second most progressive carries upward, David, you probably say this is the guy that's able to drive it up midfield for them without needing to pass it, without needing to lay it off. He is a guy that can skin a player, for them. I mean, I don't want you to admit, Dave, that you're afraid of him like I maybe did, but, how would you feel like Emile Smith-Rowe if you took him out of the game in this case, if you were able to limit some of those progressive carries, some of those dribbled pass, how would you feel about it?
No, look, every time I've seen him play against us, I think he's actually played very well for Arsenal. I do think he's one of their better players going forward. He does create an awful lot for them. And look, it's just purely because he's a bit more direct, Jack. He's not afraid to get on the ball and carry it, try and beat a player or two and make something happen. But if he thinks he's carrying that ball against Højbjerg and Skip, think again.
Not happening, Dave. Not happening. He also has the most carries into the final third, which I would say to anybody that maybe is a fan of Arsenal at this rate. I mean, that is a very good stat for maybe you just say to your unfortunate brothers and sisters of, the scum. All I can say is maybe that's a good stat maybe to carry into your own pub as well. Just the fact that he does have the most carries into the final third, which I find, Dave, as you maybe know, is one of my favorite stats, of any player. I think that's just the sign of a good player. And also he does have the second most carries into the penalty area. Maybe what you can just tell from this, Dave, is he's just a player that it's just someone that just knows how to carry the ball. He's someone that's good with his feet, doesn't need to give up the ball. In fact, is the source of creativity. There's a reason he has the 1-0 on the back of his shirt. And, most of these stats probably test to it. As much as, they've only scored 2 goals in the Premier League, I would say if you take him out of the game, you definitely take a huge source of creativity. In fact, a huge source of being able to carry the ball into our own opposition, half as well. So if you take him out of the game, I think we'll have a bit of success, I would argue.
Do you know what's fantastic though, Jack? Just listening to you there, all the players they've had down the years, some of the great creative players down the years. We're now talking about Emil Smith cannot roll a ball. You've gone from Perez, Henry, Bergkamp used to be creative as well. You had a lot of players in there over the years, and now we're talking about Emil Smith cannot roll a ball. It's absolutely fantastic. Especially that they're relying on such a youngster. Well, he's not that young, but they're relying on a player who they've loaned out for years upon years, now to be their main guy. Sad times for Arsenal fans if I was listening to this, that's for sure.
Certainly is, Dave. Certainly is sad times. So maybe might as well just move on to their unsung hero, Gabe. And hopefully maybe you're taking a breath by now. I know kind of going through this, it's kind of like holding your breath in the tunnel. It's like holding your breath underwater, these situations, having to go down through this. So all I can say is Harris Army, the Coys Army, Spurs Army, Black Cap Army, maybe you're able to hold on with me for this one. But for our unsung heroes, unfortunately, going to be Kieran Tierney, somebody, again, that Dave and I do actually fear to a degree. He has actually the 3rd most shot creating actions, Dave, which is, again, not very much, 16. But in that case, it does just show that, Kieran Tierney is actually very good at getting forward. He's actually the 2nd most blocks in the squad as well. He does know how to get stuck in from time to time. 2nd most passes blocked as well. He also has the most crosses by a significant margin, Dave. I do mean by a significant margin. I think it's almost triple, actually, any other player in the squad, Dave. Almost triple any other player in the squad with 24 crosses, actually, so far this season. He's also most switches of play as well with 12 switches of play, which just shows that, Kieran Tierney, at the end of the day, he knows how to hit a ball. He does know how to strike a ball. He knows how to be able to switch play. He knows how to be able to, find maybe players, that aren't really open in certain scenarios and maybe certain players that, wouldn't be able to find. So I would say, his creative ability, Kieran Tierney, is actually quite decent, I would argue. And then also, again, as much as maybe Emil Smith-Rowe had, I believe, the most carries into the penalty area. Maybe let me just confirm that he did have the most carries into the 2nd most carries into the penalty area with only 6, actually, with only 6. It does show maybe a bit of a decency, to Kieran Tierney here, Dave, but he actually has 4 carries into the penalty area, which, again, this is a guy that really likes to go forward. And obviously, Dave, maybe you know a bit about his Celtic days. And before I let you get to that, maybe these stats might maybe help you in this case. But maybe you could even, I don't know how you want to receive this, Dave. Maybe you could say how we might expose him, or maybe you just might give a bit of respect to the guy. I'll let you go about this anyway, but he knows how to get forward. He's practically, the creative outlet, as a fullback, Tomiyasu or Tiramisu, excuse me, Sean Snow. That was a brilliant nickname, Sean Snow. Do you feel like he's the guy that of any of the fullbacks, he's the one that's getting forward that, will be a bit dangerous, but as well could be exposed?
Do you know what, Jack? Look, for me, he not that I respect him because he went to the Gooners, but look, he's one of the players that maybe I would be a little bit fearful of. Look, you can't forget what he done to Doherty last season. Honestly, yeah. Same move every single time. He destroyed us single-handedly. Look, this guy has an engine, Jack. He's humble and he's aggressive. Look, this guy was walking in and around Arsenal and champion, in and around into Premier League games with just his boots in a Tesco bag. He walks around in the t-shirt while everyone else is walking around with a long sleeve top on. Look, this guy, trust me, he's a down-to-earth guy, and he is a very good player, Jack. The reason why Celtic loved him and the reason why Arsenal fans love him is just purely because of his engine, up and down, up and down, up and down. And he doesn't stop. He's absolutely relentless, and the reason why he got a lot of notice at Celtic is because he constantly had the other winger going backwards, which is where that winger doesn't want to be going. constantly had them running backwards, tracking his runs, and he was a good outlet for the team every single time. And look, he can do. He's confident on the ball, Jack. He has a bit. He can look after the ball. He has a decent touch, and he's not afraid to put crosses in the box. For players to attack. And for me, look, he's very important to them, because as good as Odegaard and Smith Rowe are in midfield, having this guy out wide with the runs and the aggression and everything else he does it with is huge for them, because he's running outside them. He's creating space for them, but he's also creating an option for a pass for them as well. And they don't have that going down the right side. So, look, for me, I think he's a very good player. I really do. And he's very confident on the ball, just like all these stats are showing, Jack.
Before we get to Kaguma's, brilliant super chat, Dave, I just feel like Zanuska had a brilliant comment here saying scary stats for Tiny, but can't be putting the word hero next to any scum player, Dave. I mean, probably a bit of a typo by us. Maybe we just have to apologize to Miss Remschunder.
Look,
bit of a typo, maybe Unsung scum, maybe Unsung, it just maybe any other game, we do put Unsung hero by it, for the other side, but maybe for this occasion, just a bit of a typo, maybe made by us, I guess is what she's saying.
Yeah, a bit of an oversight, my bad. We should have just put Unsung shitbag or something like that. But look, that's something, for the next rivalry game, next rivals that come around.
Big up Sanushka. Great comment, Sanushka. Great comment. Gaguma saying, I love how these shows show how to win, or I love these how to win shows. Mucho info and fun. Gaguma, all I can say is, Gaguma, I really appreciate it. It definitely is a lot of info, probably a bit too much, at times. That's why I probably, say, like a lot of lectures, Dave, I do like to say class dismissed at the end of this, because, lots of times we do kind of just wake up, from the lesson, just realize, we got to get on to the next class or the next thing. So Gaguma, hopefully you're able to keep, paying attention for the rest of this. But I do appreciate that you do love this show, Gaguma, real legend.
No, absolute legend. Big yourself up, Gaguma, and thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you're absolutely pumped for the North London Derby. And thank you so much for your support. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And Dermot with a bit of support there as well. Big yourself up, Dermot. And he says, we are a better side than last season. And if we win Sunday, I'll be back to fully in Nuno we trust.
Ooh, love that, Dermot.
Look, 100%. Look, Dermot, what I will say is, look, we have to give the guy time. We have to give him time. Look, we don't want to go down Arsenal's route where they're stuck with a guy who's trying to play like Pep Guardiola, with getting his fullback to come into the centre and all this sort of crack. Honestly, the embarrassment of Arteta. Look, the only good thing about Arteta is that, there could be gale force winds around the Emirates and not one hair on his head will move because it's Lego hair. Absolute clown. But big up, Dermot, my man. Really, really appreciate it. What a top man. And everyone else, feel free to help support me and Jack, guys, if you're enjoying the show. And feel free to get your comments in and everything else. Big yourselves up. Absolutely love it, the Harris Army. Honestly, Jack, we probably thought we'd get about 20 people in at this time of the night. We've over 111 watching right now. Unbelievable. Make sure everyone is smashing that like button. If you're new, make sure you are smashing that subscribe button, guys. And look, like I said, why not help support the channel with a super chat? But look, let's Jack, take it away more, my man.
Yeah, this is unfortunately maybe again, Harris Army, Flat Cap Army, Spurs Army, David Army, all the armies out there that are present tonight. All I can say is, again, I really apologize for how much I'm making you guys hold your breath, for this. But this is going to be maybe the section where we do talk about how do Arsenal attack. And it is maybe a bit of a sad scenario, but I do promise you guys, these are, they've only scored 2 goals this season. So all the scenarios that I do create for them, it is going to be, a situation where I do actually have them missing the chance just because they've only scored 2 goals this season. But then again, I would probably digress and say, back to the cold hard facts, Arsenal do have a tendency to score, at their own stadium. They do have a tendency to score at home against Spurs. So all I can say is, as much as I want that 1-0 cloak and dagger, win to happen, it's going to be very, very tough to achieve that. So we might have to score a bit more than that. So might as well just hold our breath here and just maybe break down maybe how Arsenal could in fact hurt us. And so the first, situation is going to be that Kieran Tierney threat, Dave. It's going to be that attacking wing back. He's one of their most creative outlets in the squad. In fact, like we said before, the third most shot creating actions out of any player in Arsenal, at the moment. And so this is going to be the situation, Dave, where it's going to be kind of a bit of a funny one where it's going to be, kind of like Kieran Tierney here in this situation. He finds himself in lots of space, and this is actually quite realistic. He just drives the ball up the pitch, does a little 1-2 with somebody. Could be Emile Smith-Rowe, could be Saka, could be anybody, and then he finds, a clever pass into the box here, in this situation. I mean, he has some of the most progressive carries in the entire squad, David. Kieran Tierney, he's some of the most, progressive carries into the final third as well, David, into the opposition final third. He has some of the most progressive carries into the opposite box. He has some of the most crosses he actually has the most crosses out of any player as well for the Scum. So you just feel like, Dave, this is just a very, very realistic scenario. And unfortunately, it's maybe something that we might unfortunately maybe see a lot of, you might say, this game, where he's just able to combine with certain players and then maybe able to create a decent chance maybe in our own box. He's just somebody that likes to bomb forward. You can even tell the way Tomiyasu actually drops deep here, maybe on the opposite side. He's just able to find, the players like that Tierney, they almost to a degree will maybe use entirely Tierney as creative outlet as a fullback, and Tomiyasu almost never, even if you look at his heat maps, I'm almost being a bit generous to him. Tomiyasu rarely even goes into the opposition half. He almost creates a back three at times. So all I can say is, Dave, Kieran Tierney, he's going to be their fullback that's going to have a lot of freedom at times. Maybe not a lot of freedom, but he is the one that they expect to have a lot of freedom. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, look, honestly, I thought you were showing me clips from last year's game. I've seen this move so many times last year, Jack. In fact, on repeat, just like this, except for Doherty was at right back, done with the same move. Look, all I can say is if we can turn the ball over quicker, just put it straight down in behind them. Put it straight down in behind them, because once you start doing that and ask questions of them going the other way, Jack, an awful lot, it starts making them think more about breaking forward and getting forward, which then could take a bit out of the attack as well. So, but look, 100%, look, we've all seen this last season. And look, the only thing I will say is I think Tanganga will deal with this no problem. And the reason why I say that is Doherty can't defend one-on-one. Look, Doherty's like an old school fullback where if the winger comes back and helps and whatever else, he's fine. But nowadays, as a fullback, you're expected to defend one-on-one, sometimes two-on-one. And Tanganga could do with that. So it'll be very interesting to see if Tierney gets that dry up against Tanganga, Jack.
Yeah, and I would just say maybe, Dave, in this scenario too, it's actually Arsenal to a degree building out of their own back. And a lot of maybe fans of the Scum, or maybe fans that know plenty about the Scum, are saying that Ramsdale might be starting in this one, Dave. Do you feel like Ramsdale will be starting, or do you feel like maybe does it really matter? Like, in this scenario, like, does it really matter between Leno and Ramsdale? Do you feel like one of them is better than the other? Maybe if you were to be a bit less biased in this case, do you feel like one of them is better than the other? And do you expect one to start over the other? I actually had this odd feeling that when I looked at Arteta's press conference, he seemed still a bit hesitant about the whole situation, because he did say every single goalkeeper scenario, he takes it one game at a time. And I'm thinking Ramsdale, he's never been in a North London derby before. In fact, again, he's only played against Norwich and Burnley. So I'm thinking maybe they might still give it to Leno in this scenario.
Do you know what? It's a toss-up, Jack. Look, as far as I'm aware, Ramsdale started the last two games. But great point you said. He does not have the North London derby experience. Look, with Leno, it's a toss-up. Leno's probably more comfortable. Well, I wouldn't say more comfortable because he's prone to a mistake, but a bit more comfortable with the ball at his feet, Jack, than what maybe Ramsdale was. And it all depends whether, like, look, if it is like this where he does want to be recycling the ball, I wouldn't be putting Ramsdale in as my goalkeeper, because he's a big lad. He's not quick with the feet. He's not too nimble. Whereas, look, Leno, there is a mistake in him, but Leno has turned up in North London derbies in the past. He's done well. It's a big call. Honestly, Jack, that and the Xhaka one, I think, are the two 50-50s. Could go either way. Two
50-50s, and at least in the Ramsdale Leno case, I mean, as much as people are probably quite upset that I have Leno in these simulations, to be honest, I don't really think it makes much of a difference, guys. It's a goalkeeper at the end of the day, especially, as well. His job is to be saving shots, and maybe it might actually be a bit scary then, because this scenario, to anybody that are fans of this guy, all I can say is, this animation here actually has, them building out of the back. And do I see Ramsdale being able to build out of the back in this way, especially with that left-footed pass coming from Leno? Probably not. So all I can say is maybe you should be hopeful that, especially considering this animation, especially considering how maybe David said, they actually heard us exactly this way, multiple times. It's probably not Ramsdale then doing this pass. It's actually probably Leno. So Ramsdale would actually probably be just booting this long a bit route one probably. So all I can say is maybe in this animation, you guys might be a bit hopeful, might be a bit, someone else, but Tottenham Tantrum here saying, I agree with you that we do have to give him time. We gave Birkinshaw time after he took us down, and look what happened. We won 2 FA Cups and a UEFA Cup. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely. All I can say is that, especially if Nuno were to pull off 3 points, I would say, again, he'd be back into the state where, he'd be my adopted father, someone that I would say, Nuno is my dad. I've been saying it lots of times, especially, the last 2 Premier League performances, I've had to retract that. To a degree, it's now become a bit, Nuno, we trust slightly less. But, if he were to be able to pull 3 points off here, I would say in Nuno, we trust fully again. And that would just be re-signing the paperwork for him to be my adopted father.
No, look, at the end of the day, look, we don't want to be going down the same route as Arsenal where, like I said, you end up with a guy who wants to mimic Guardiola, who just can't do it. Look, Nuno's had a lot to deal with. Right, the Harry Kane situation, Sonny injury. He hasn't been at his full fitness really this season. We've had the 3 American drug lords out isolating. So we haven't actually been able to get probably what Nuno's first 11, what he wants to do with it. To be honest with you, because we've had so many injuries. Tanganga was suspended, so. We've just been up in Hevel. We've literally just been plugging the gaps right now. And for me, look, for a manager that's been plugging the gaps the way he has with what he's had to work with so far, including all the injuries and everything else, I think he's done an okay job. And look, for me, it was never going to be overnight success or instant, but he got off to a bloody good start. Why can't we get back to that? And at the end of the day, I just think we do have to give him time. I do. I don't want to be going down the route of sacking managers every couple of months until we get the right guy or, because you're asking for trouble. You are asking for trouble. And if you go down that route, you're going to upset Harry Kane. Then who's going to get you the goals to keep you in the league? You know what I mean? So it's a very it's very murky waters to get in that. Look, obviously, if results start taking a turn and we're just absolutely shit, you have to get rid of them. But, I do think we have to be patient and give the guy a bit of time. Because at the end of the day, when you sit back and you analyse it, and you really put thought into it, and you look at some of the results, and okay, past Chelsea, woeful, but we bet City, so there is positives there. And then you look at the players, like the amount of times he's had to chop and change and everything else, and just to kind of suit the players that we've had. I think he has done a good job, and I just think we just have to give him time. It's that simple, Dermot. Big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate it. Everyone else, feel free to put in a super chat too. And really help support the channel.
If you want to stop us at any point, because this, like we said before, Dave, this is a freight train. This is a train that doesn't even stop, at the Emirates. So if you want us to stop at any point, if you want us maybe to, find a station where we can get to your comment, maybe you can get ahead of the queue as well. Feel free to put in a super chat. You don't need to. We understand plenty of people are in situations, especially coming the weekend, probably saving up a bit of money as well. But if you are feeling like, you want to stop us at any point, stop this freight train, to the 1-0 win that I'm predicting this upcoming weekend, feel free to stop me at any rate. But let's break it down maybe in the next one, Dave. The next threat that we're going to have actually is going to be Aubameyang. And I do call him maybe a bit of a FIFA term in this case, the pace merchant, in this case. For Aubameyang, he is definitely desperate for another goal this season, Dave. He's definitely desperate for another goal. In this situation, I just have it actually as a counterattack scenario, Dave. And maybe that doesn't seem too plausible to you. Maybe you'd be feel free to tell me that maybe this isn't likely, but it's actually just Dele Alli, the most dispossessed player in our squad in this scenario, Dave. He just gives it up in maybe a bad spot while we're trying to actually progress, the play. He tries to give in to Harry Kane in the box. Odegaard is able to find, a ball in between our defense, plays it on the floor, way through the lines, Aubameyang is off to the races, Dave. But, maybe like always in these situations, I do have actually the scum missing it, maybe, which is a bit of bias in this situation. But, I really couldn't care less. Dave, do you feel like this is a plausible scenario in this regard where Dele Alli gives it away, maybe in a possibly bad position, maybe while every player is going forward? You can even tell by the animation, all the players are a bit caught off guard by maybe the way that we lose the ball. And then from there, it is Aubameyang off to the races, just sitting in the middle of the field, finding that path. He loves to sit off of, the shoulders of the defender like Romero and Skippy here and Dyer, and Odegaard's able to find him. Who can pick a pass, Dave?
Yeah, look, probably one of his stupid little flicks or tricks that he likes to do. One of them, Jack, where he just gives it away in a ridiculous position. And look, it's definitely a threat because Aubameyang will look to play on the last shoulder. And he will, and he will always make that run in behind. He has the pace to do it. That's why he's in the team. He's not going to be coming to the ball looking for it to feet because he's not that sort of player. He's not that hold up guy. He wants to throw.
Never been. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, he's never been that hold up play. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, like I was saying, he's just going to sit on the last shoulder and expect that ball to come every single time. He's just going to be sitting there waiting for it.
Yeah, and I would just say then, Aubameyang at the end of the day, again, they've only scored 2 goals this whole season. As much as we like to slate our own attacking play, Dave, they've only scored 2 this whole season. Aubameyang, I would say, probably is very, very scary because he's probably more desperate than ever to score, especially in North London Derby, especially at home. So I would say maybe there's likely they could maybe put away a scenario like this, but hopefully, maybe someone like Romero will be able to, see this. Someone will be able to, possibly know that this is exactly the situation that Aubameyang practically thrives off, Dave. I would say he really thrives off these scenarios where, it's a bit of a counterattack scenario against the run of play, to a degree, and then is able to just, find the space off the shoulder and able to hopefully find some player like maybe could be Xhaka even in this situation. Doesn't need Odegaard, David. It actually could be Xhaka maybe playing this pass, as well, but it's just maybe, Aubameyang just kind of sitting off of the shoulder of one of our center back. Could be Moon Boots, could be Romero, could be Sanchez, but yeah, just sitting off the shoulder of our defender and, just willing to, wait for that pass to come, and hopefully it never will.
No, hopefully it doesn't. But what I will say is if we can put Romero in there alongside Dyer, look, if I was Aubameyang, I'd always be looking to make that run off Dyer all day long because he will do him for pace. Not Romero because look, he does have a bit of pace and he's very aggressive. So just if I was Aubameyang, I'd be looking to make that run off Dyer. That's the only thing I'd add.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would add. I don't think there's really much else to go by this, I would say. So I do apologize to the Arsenal fans. So my last animation, my last threat, of how maybe Arsenal could break us down is Emile Smith-Rowe, who we did, highlight as a key player to take out for this match, as a key player for Arsenal as well. So I would say Smith-Rowe as their number 10, Dave, is definitely a threat. He is a number 10, a true number 10, I would say, in the way that he plays. He's excellent at carrying the ball. And this is what you might see here. He actually does a bit of a 1-2, maybe in a situation. It's kind of actually, David, in this animation, I'm trying to maybe kind of symbolize them kind of breaking the press here. To a degree, we're actually pressing them quite high up the pitch, in this regard. And then what happens here is Ben White finds a pass. Emile Smith-Rowe is able to play Partey or Odegaard in this situation. Maybe they find Aubameyang for a little layoff, and then maybe a Smith-Rowe in this situation. I've seen this countless times. He did this in the Europa League last season, did this in the Premier League last season. He actually loves that little spot, either on this side, on the left-hand side, or on the right-hand side. He actually loves to find that where he's able to maybe get a bit of space in the box and do this. He almost likes to do that little dink, kind of cross, Dave, over the box, across the box, across the 6, Dave. And so all I can say is this is a situation where maybe Arsenal kind of break our press high up the pitch and then are able to, maybe find a bit of space for Pepe and Smith-Rowe. And Smith-Rowe just gives a little dink, across the box to someone like Aubameyang. As much as I would really say, this isn't maybe the most likely scenario, maybe for Arsenal, Dave. I mean, Emile Smith-Rowe, in my opinion, is someone that is fully capable of breaking a press and also really is only very, forward thinking. And so if he's able to find a bit of space like this, I do think he could probably make the most of it, especially in North London Derby.
Yeah, no, look, with the stats from Emile Smith-Rowe and everything else, look, I do think he is their best player. I think he is the most creative player. An early challenge will sort that out, though, Jack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe Delhi does win that right there, Dave, or maybe Skippy does win that or something. Hopefully so. But all I can say is, maybe just that last little part right there, shown right there. It's Emile Smith-Rowe. Definitely is fully capable of doing that run, maybe alongside a winger. He almost likes to do a bit of overloads, you might say, Dave, where he then is able to find a bit of space, and he really loves a little dink cross over the top, to somebody, that's coming in maybe late back post, Dave. So that's what I would say is maybe another threat. Maybe the most likely of them, I would say, could come through Kieran Tierney, which is our first animation. But this is, again, maybe a situation where they break our press, in a situation. The other situation was, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, counterattack threat. But all I can say is maybe after that, Dave, those are the only threats I could imagine.
No, look, thank God that's done. I was getting nauseous looking at all this Arsenal thing. We have to do it. But honestly, I was getting nauseous. Thank God we're back to familiar colours, Jack. The lily white and the blue. Honestly, I can come back to reality now. Thank God. That's a killer. Honestly, as much as a killer it is for me to go through it and everything else, Jack. Honestly, it's got to be a right killer for you, lad. You have to go on. The amount research this guy does, and the amount highlights and everything he watches and everything else to be able to put this together. You've no idea, Jack. That must be a killer for you to be able to.
Oh, Dave, what's even worse is when I know I make a good animation for the opposite team, because sometimes I've had a bit of guttural responses like, wow, that's actually not bad. And then I know that I made it for the opposition team as well. It just makes me quite sick to the stomach. But I know it's actually, and this is also, Dave, it's actually a bit even more sickening. It's almost even more important at times to be able to show how the opposition can hurt us, because then, like I said, you can be the smartest man in the pub tomorrow, the smartest woman in the pub tomorrow, where you'll be able to maybe explain how the opposition can hurt us, how we might get hurt, because everybody wants to say like, oh, we're not going to win this. We're not going to win this. We never win, away from home, against Arsenal. But how? Like, how will we not win against them? How will they hurt us? How will they exploit us? How will they win that game? So all I can say is, it just maybe, David, it puts a bit of, sad pressure on me to maybe explain how the opposition hurt us, especially in this scenario, Dave. It hurts more than ever.
No, look, honestly, everyone better be hailing Jack in the comments, because I wouldn't have the head to do
it's
this.
Drama.
You're only getting this because Jack has the head to do it, guys. So you don't want to be all in the comments, all hailing Jack, guys. But no, big up, Jack. Really appreciate it, my man. Sammy Player says...
Legendary comment.
A 15 euro ramen. Come on,
that's a real listener right there. That's a real listener, Sammy Playa. That's a real listener. That's an inside joke practically at this rate for the Harris Armies. Maybe Aaron Dub is listening, but all I can say is, Sammy Playa, I can make a $1. And maybe especially Sammy Playa, if you understand the top ramen. I know we don't have pot noodle over here, but we have something called top ramen. And with top ramen, I turn a nice little shrimp, flavored ramen with a bit of, that really, processed whatever, like the sauce that they put with it and whatnot. I just do a little hard-boiled egg, a few scallions or green onions, and then I turn that $1 pot noodle or $1 top ramen into a $15 ramen, and then I sell it to everybody else. So Sammy Playa, legendary comment, really legendary. Honestly, an inside joke at this rate, Dave.
No, 100%. Big yourself up, Sammy boy. Big yourself up. Gaguma with the super sticker. Big yourself up. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Legendary. Let me pull it up, Dave, just for a second.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Really, actually, that's on me, Gaguma, at this rate. That's on me, honestly. I really do apologize. Let's pull that up, what it says here.
Just quickly with Sammy. Are you a boy or a girl? You never know what the name Sammy. It's a risk, to pursue. So let me know. Man, woman, let me know.
Gaguma, it's actually one of her favorites, Dave. It's one of Gaguma's favorites. That cat with kind of the blushy, kind of like my, cheeks here, Dave, very blushy, with the, it's the cat kind of going like this, Dave, with heart emojis and whatnot. I really do appreciate it, Gaguma. I really do appreciate it. She must just be in awe of the stats. She really loves this show.
No, she definitely does. Look, another one who's always in here and helps supporting us when she can. Absolutely love it. And guys, feel free to, like so many before, you like Sammy, like Gaguma, like Dermot, and everyone else, feel free to drop a super chat or two in and keep help supporting us. But look, Jacko, we'll keep moving, my man. We'll keep moving.
This is now, everybody, now you can just release your breath. We just made it through that tunnel. Like I said, it was actually a non-express train. So, it's probably smart of you to even actually hold your breath, because we didn't even try to make a stop, at the Emirates Day. We still blitzed right on through. So hopefully you were able to hold your breath for most of it, Dave. So now we're finally at the part where we're able to talk about how can Tottenham win this game? How can the Spurs win this game? How can the boys win this game for this one? And so we are going to maybe just first break down. It's not really a predicted lineup, I would say, Dave, but it is maybe just how we might be able to set up. I don't see us setting up in a back three, back five. If we did, I wouldn't really be too maybe saddened by it. I wouldn't be actually too disappointed. All I can say is that I actually see us maybe setting up a bit similar to how we sat up against, the likes of Man City, actually, considering this is a huge match, considering that this is a match where we would, probably want to be a bit more defensively solid, especially, maybe the creativity, I would argue, Dave, is not as much as it has been necessary in other matches, maybe against, the scum away from home, Dave. It's not really the creativity that's necessary. It's more being defensively solid, being able to, have that bit of that grit, that nastiness, right? And so maybe this field, I would say, or maybe this starting 11, Dave, we know that we see, that Bermuda, Bermuda, I would say, rectangle, or, at this rate, Dave, the Bermuda rectangle between Skippy, Højbjerg, Romero, and Tanganga, as well as Lucas, I would say, also knows how to get stuck in, Dave. So, this is just, one of those lineups where we're going for a hard man, kind of a hard man 11. And, I wouldn't be surprised if Nuno went with something like this, Dave.
No, look, to be honest with you, I'm very happy with that lineup. I'll be honest with you. Look, depending on Tanguy, the only change I probably would make is Dele and Tanguy. That would be the only one, depending on whether the guy's fit enough. And look, I can answer this while answering William Kelly's super chat. He says, I'm really worried we will get overpowered in midfield. Look, like Jack was saying, look, don't worry about it, William. We've got Skip and Højbjerg. Honestly, they're actually not getting enough respect for the amount of ball they turn over. It's not something I hear enough people talking about. Go back and watch the games. They turn over ball in there, left, right, and centre. We're not a nice midfield to play against.
No.
We've got plenty of legs. We work hard. The only thing it lacks is creativity at times. But look, one thing we will do is make it difficult in there. Overpowered. Look, if they go with Odegaard and Smith Rowe in there, it's game over. I don't know about Thomas to broke it down tank engine. How long will he last? How long will he last before he tires? You know what I mean? So, look, that's one thing I haven't feared this season, just from what I'm looking at. I just don't have any fear that we're going to be overpowered in midfield whatsoever. Creativity-wise, look, yes, there's a massive question. Are we creative than others? Probably not, no. But overpowering, I'd say, yeah, we are.
I don't think there's a harder tackling midfield than ours, William Kelly. And maybe, again, that's just Dave and I obviously being deluded as always in that regard. But all I can say is, I would say William Kelly, our midfield practically every single time. They even show, especially even when we're away from home, William Kelly, Højbjerg, even Dele this last offseason, Skippy as well. You see Skippy's muscles. They practically, look at the opposition team and they say, by the way, your weight room is over there because we were just there earlier and we didn't see you in there, by the way. We didn't see you in the training room. You see Skippy, he's probably doing, dumbbells, whatnot, practically doing bench presses, and Højbjerg is a spotter, over there. I would say, Højbjerg, Skippy, Dele especially too, they practically show the opposition team where the weight room is in their own stadium.
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, just with Skip, from what I'm hearing, a lot of people in and around the club, even some players reckon this guy is future Tottenham captain. I'm not saying it, but that's what the words are coming out around. And look, with Højbjerg, look, he's just a general. Honestly, if he doesn't make a tackle, he goes home and beats himself up. So, honestly,
he tackles himself.
Look, I understand William Kelly. Don't get me wrong, but this year, I just don't think we have that soft underbelly in midfield like we did last year. But my man, look, it doesn't matter. You like the whiskey, crack it open on Sunday. That'll drink the powers. That'll get you through. Drink some powers. That'll give us our midfield the power, my man. And, power's on the rocks. That's what you need to be drinking Sunday. But big up, my man. Really appreciate it. Let me know what time it is down under over there, my man. It must be early for you. And Faz Radfar says, where are you based? In Ireland. Love my Black Barrel Jameson. Yeah, look, Fazzy boy. For me, I'm based in County Kildare, lad. Newbridge, County Kildare. That's where I'm based originally from Kilcullen. But Newbridge is 15 minutes away, and that's where I'm living now. It's it's a lot better for me because there's a lot more takeaways open at night to have my pick from if I don't want to cook. Everything's on my doorstep in terms of shops and everything else. So it's a lot better for me. But yeah, County Kildare, my man. And look, Black Barrel Jameson, lad. It's a nice one. It's a nice one. Look, for me, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a whiskey drinker. It kind of blows the chest off me. It really burns going down. But look, some people might say I drink enough of it because I have hairs on my chest. So who knows, my man? Who knows?
Maybe so. Big up, Faz.
Big up.
I just want to address this. All I can say is, Alan, is we had a certain, maybe, Mr. Easy Pass is what we call him over here. A certain, Harry Winks. By no means it belongs in a weight room, let alone a football pitch. That's all I can say. So I would say with Harry Winks, it's an absolute hindrance to a midfield. We also went with, a very weird diamond sort of shape of some kind. It just was a whole different kind of midfield entirely. If you're just talking about Højbjerg, Skip, in Delhi and the way that it was against Man City, all I can argue is that is a very strong man midfield. And then going up against, Crystal Palace, maybe to explain, of course, maybe, it was a horrible defeat for us. But I would argue Conor Gallagher practically could win a marathon at this rate. That guy runs so much. I mean, he's just constantly sprinting, that guy. He must be in the best shape of his life at this rate, Conor Gallagher. I mean, the man does not stop running. As well as, Dave, I think it was James McArthur. James McArthur, he's always known to be more of a workhorse than he is ever technically brilliant. And then Kouyaté as well is a hard man tackler. He practically got away with assault multiple times against us as well. So all I can say is we actually went up against a very hard man midfield ourselves. And we didn't really hold our own because we had a certain Harry Winks maybe holding us back, Alan O'Flynn. But I would argue, even Crystal Palace's midfield is actually quite hard themselves and are actually quite physically robust. So that would be my argument.
And look, what I would say, Alan, is just big capital letters, Winks. I've said it, and I'm going to keep saying it every time he plays. We lose or don't get the result. So, look, that was the big problem in that midfield was Harry Winks. And he also says, you're the ultimate Lily White, so they being from Kildare. Yeah, look, Kildare up the Lily Whites, that's the nickname for our GA team. The Lily Whites, so I'm the ultimate Lily White, of course. I absolutely love that. That's another title I can add on at the start of the videos. Your ultimate Lily White. Absolutely love it. Big up. But Sammy Plia says, "Mail lads, love it, Jack. Do you recommend the ramen trick for date night while on a budget? Arsenal, Spurs to beat Arsenal 2-1 for Sunday. 100% agree."
Seems like one for me here, Sammy. It seems like one for me here, Sammy. So all I can say is the way I do it, especially if you have, I guess for the pot noodle, I know the pot noodle is a bit of a different recipe, Dave, a bit of a kind of different, concoction of a type of ramen. But all I can say is, you actually make the hard-boiled eggs first. Make the hard-boiled eggs first, especially if you're probably doing, with the missus, probably give about 2 for yourself. Maybe 2 for her, maybe even 3 for either of you as well, however many you want to make. And then you actually ice them in a bit of ice water. So you get the ice water first in a bowl, chill them out, you chill out those eggs, and then make the ramen, then put a little bit of scallions in there once the ramen's all cooked and, all good after that. And then you actually break open those hard-boiled eggs right over the ramen when you pour it in. Honestly, it's delicious, Dave. It's absolutely delicious. That's all I will say is make the hard-boiled eggs first. Maybe like a lot of things, Dave, just got to crack a few eggs first, start with the eggs, then move on to the rest of it. So do the hard boiled eggs first, move on to that, and then do the ramen after. But you have to absolutely chill them, Sammy. You have to chill them first so that it's able to, just get that beautiful aesthetic, for the ramen.
Lads, you're asking for trouble with the missus. Honestly, if I gave ramen to my missus, I'd be saying amen after at the church, praying to God for forgiveness. Trust me. But you're playing with fire there, Sammy boy. You're playing with fire. Look, for a date night, I'd actually recommend, you book a table or bring her out. But, look, God loves a trier. Why not try and be romantic at home? Set the table, put a candle or two, maybe a scented one, even go a scented one, few rose petals, some very low love music in the background, and dish up the ramen and see how you get on, my man. But big yourself up. And of course, 2-1 Sunday for Spurs. Absolutely love it. What a
big up, Sammy. Big up, Sammy. Legendary.
And William Kelly says 9:30 a.m. Davy boy. Not the whiskey. I'll be on the rum.
Friday night, William, too. Friday night, William. Let me know if any of the dance moves will be coming out, William, because like I said to you before, the rum is actually, it brings out more of my comedy side, to a degree. It brings out a bit more of my funny side, William, and as well, it only brings out the best of the dance moves for me. I think someone, likened what I said, a bit of the Bacardi and Coke, for, a bit of Bacardi Diet Coke, especially if I don't want the sugar. But I will say it brings out the best of the dance moves. I know you're more of a captain, man, which I'm not surprised by, William, considering, your experience, your veteranship as well, William. But absolutely, the rum is the way to go, especially on a Friday night.
No, look, William, you need to do what I told you to do. Get some of that Fanta Orange. No, I was going to say Club Orange, but I don't know whether you can get that in Australia. It's a good old Irish brand as far as I'm aware, the Club Orange. But look, what I will say to you is, get some fizzy Fanta, get some of that bad boy in there, the Fanta Orange. And honestly, it's going to taste like one of them super split ice lollies, with the orange, tropical orange thing on the outside with the ice cream in the middle. Beautiful. Mwah. Honestly. So give it a go, my man. And absolutely love it. Big up, William Kelly. Look, 9:30 a.m., you have a whole day ahead of you. You know what you're doing sitting inside watching us. Maybe you're having your Weetabix or your cornflakes, getting ready for the day. Who knows? But my man, make sure you have a good one. Make sure you enjoy yourself down under. I'm jealous every single day I see your name there, knowing that you're living over there and enjoying yourself, my man. Big yourself up.
Big yourself up, William Kelly. Legendary. Absolutely legendary. Love to see that. Love to see that. And Stacademics is in here, which is honestly one of the best, names as well, in the building. But boys, we're going to be moving in, and ladies, we're going to be moving into, our unsung heroes and our own key players for this one. And I'm actually delighted, I will say, by this unsung hero, because I feel like Region sometimes does not get enough respect, in my opinion, Dave, just because, of course, he has these moments where we kind of do get a bit frustrated with him. Maybe he gets a bit too far forward. Maybe he makes a wrong kind of errant pass or whatnot. But if you just break down the stats here, I mean, the man is practically, one of the most irreplaceable fullbacks, I would argue, in the Premier League, especially considering the form that we've been in, the horrible form that we've been in the Premier League. This guy is still showing out to be one of our most consistent performers, especially this season, Dave. He's put up fantastic performance against Riyad Mahrez, Joao Cancelo at the same time. He also did a fantastic job against Ismail Assar as well. Even in the Chelsea game, Dave, how much did you really remember them attacking down our right-hand side as well? Like, it just shows. I would say Region. And again, against Crystal Palace, he had a miraculous save off the line, which almost, prevented it from being 4-0 as well. So all I can say is I think Region, in my opinion, deserves a bit more respect. So that's why he's my unsung hero. He has the most shot creating actions, which is practically the most chances created at all, Dave, in our entire side, with 10 shot creating actions so far. He has the second most crosses completed in our entire squad as well, with 7. I would say that is actually just, Kieran Tierney with 24. It just really does show, Dave. I mean, wow. I mean, the fact that he has that many crosses. But he does have the most passes into the attacking penalty area completed, Dave. These are the most passes completed into the penalty area with 7. I mean, this is a fullback, Dave. Most passes into the penalty area with 7. And he has the most key passes as well for us with 7 as well, Dave. So it just shows, I mean, as much as people like to maybe kind of rip on Region for maybe being kind of a bit kind of, I would say a bit loose-headed, at times, not really thinking things clearly on certain, attacking, displays. The guy is just unbelievable at getting up and down the pitch and being able to create things for our team. He's always there as an outlet. He is always there as an outlet. I would say kind of like a cheap man's Marcelo, I would say to a degree. And I think he's almost becoming now an expensive Marcelo. But again, Dave, like look at maybe before we break down the next, few stats, just look at those creative numbers from the guy.
No, look, Jack, I always say it's my favorite expression. My eyes don't lie to me. Look, as much people want to berate him defensively, this, that, and the other. Okay, there was call for it last season. This season, I actually think he's improved and worked on it. But going forward, he offers so much, Jack. He has the engine to get forward. At last season, at times, he was getting in on the end of crosses coming from the right. And I'm like, what's Region doing? Fair play. You know what I mean? And look, he creates an awful lot. And you know what? It always starts with an interception, Jack. These are famous interceptions me and you keep talking about. He jumps in, intercepts the ball, and tries to get us up the field. And he's good enough to do it as well. So, look, I'm absolutely loving it. It's all positive from Region. A player that, look, I don't know. I think a lot of people need to do a lot more of their homework on, to be honest. I think they're sleeping on
I think they really need to give more respect to the man, Dave. In my opinion, he deserves a whole lot more respect, just considering as well the displays that he did against Joao Cancelo, like I said before, Riyad Mahrez. I mean, that is not an easy overload, Dave, especially Joao Cancelo. He's even on my draft Premier League, fantasy team. The guy just gets me points after points after points. But when he played against Spurs, Dave, nothing came out of Joao Cancelo. That's what I'll tell you. Nothing came from him. And William Kelly here saying, at work, boys, trying to keep calm for Monday morning, 1:30 a.m. kickoff. Ooh, William. Let me know, William, at that rate, are you still on the rum at that rate, William? Are you still on the rum? Or is it maybe, switching to whiskey at that stage? I would say, William, maybe if I were a bit clever, I'd probably be switching to the whiskey. It's more the philosopher's drink at that, stage of the night. But like I said, I do love myself a good dancing night, with the missus, or even, with just, going out to, any of the clubs, any of the dance bars. I would say, William, maybe at that stage, you're just kind of dancing off, the 3-0 win that we're talking about here, William Kelly. So hopefully maybe you're still on the rum, maybe still on the captain, but do let me know if it's, 1:30 a.m. at that rate, if you're still on the rum or it's the whiskey at that stage.
I have to say, I was absolutely loving Jack's jive in there. Absolutely brilliant. Look, William, my man, let me know what your workout is over there. I'd be interested to know. But look, at the end of the day, I hope you don't get caught, and I hope it doesn't get you in trouble watching us, my man. But look, Monday morning, 1:30 a.m. kickoff. Look, it's a late one for you, lad. It's a late one for you. Look, you won't be going to sleep till about 3:30 a.m. Yeah, it's a rough one for you. Look, I hope you've booked the Monday off work, because if not, it's going to be a long day for you Monday, my man. especially if you're after having a few after we win. So my advice now is either book Monday off or maybe have that sick note at the ready. That's what I said. William, I know you're not going to work Monday, but my man, let me know what you're working at down there, and big yourself up. A massive respect for getting up 1:30 a.m., my man. And look, hopefully you can tune in to myself and Jack, tune in with myself and Jack, and enjoy the game with us. Hopefully we don't make too much noise at 1:30 a.m. for you. But look, hopefully you can join us, for the game as well, my man. Big yourself up. Absolutely legend, William Kelly. And we also have Sammy says, legend Jack, probably just get a proper ramen. Great show, lads. Normally don't catch it live, but I listen every day on playback, and you deserve the support. Great banter and analysis. Keep it up. Look, I'm going to take the second half of the comment, and I'll let Jack take the first half. The second half, my man, I really, really appreciate, that you tune in every day and watch them on playback and everything else. And look, it's not just you, Sammy. There's a load of other people who've been realizing that lately, like when the views end and what they get up to by the time within a couple of days with people watching them and all, it's absolutely madness. And look, all I can say is thank you so much for your support, my man. And look, maybe if it is something that some people want to see that they can't watch the lives at 9:30, that maybe we could put out 1 or 2 shows a little bit later, just, for the likes of you, Sammy, and that. But look, my man, I see it's English pounds. So, are you working late that you can't tune in at 9:30 or whatever else? Let me know, my man. And look, I'm sure we can sort something out, put something, 1 or 2 shows on just that little bit later for you.
Yeah, but Sammy, we really do appreciate that, because Dave and I, kind of have noticed that as much as we maybe do cater to a certain time zone, a certain audience, we're starting to realize that, the Harris Army goes wide and beyond, Dave. It goes wide and beyond, the UK's borders, goes wide and beyond, even the Eastern United States' borders as well. We just know that, there are plenty of people out there that do tune in, at some of the oddest hours, as well as, the times they get off work, Dave, they get off a certain shift or whatnot as well. So we just really know that now. We just need to also maybe consider, the people that are also, practically, always watching the shows after they're finished. And, hopefully, Sammy, this is just a good sign just to know that maybe people like you, hopefully you actually are quite happy maybe to see us maybe live at this time, so you're able to tune in. And so we'll try to maybe cater to maybe these audiences a bit more often. But Sammy, what a legendary comment. And all I can say is definitely get maybe more of a proper ramen. I would say is, let me know, is it a spicy ramen? Is it, I'm trying to remember I'm not a ramen expert. I'm actually more of the cheap ramen expert. I'm a cheap ramen expert. That's why I was giving you maybe how to
into being the Gordon Ramsays of ramen.
I can't, Dave. This is the point, Dave. I can't make a 15-pound ramen turn into a 30-pound ramen, Dave. I can make a 1-pound ramen turned into a 15-pound ramen. It's not the other way around, Dave. It's not the other way around. So all I can say is, Sammy, do let me know, what type of ramen you would be going for if you're actually sitting down at the restaurant, because I'm actually not too aware of maybe any of the fancy ramens. I know someone like Aaron Dub would be, but do let me know. A fancy ramen is exactly what I want. Maybe a bit of nice chili oil or something like that going on with it. But I know the hard-boiled egg would still be there. I do know the hard-boiled egg would still be there. No matter how fancy it gets, it's always a classic. So do let me know, Sammy. Legendary comment and really legendary super chat as well. Really do appreciate you.
Well, there you are, Sammy. You've got Jack Oliver, a.k.a. Jamie Oliver, giving you the tips on the ramen. Big yourself up, Sammy, my man. Really appreciate the support. You're a top bloke, my man. Top bloke. William Kelly says, Jesus, Jack, I'd be screwed by then. I work for myself, boys. I'm a floor layer. But my man, not a bad trade to have. Not a bad trade to have at all. So, floor layer, carpenter, same thing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. But look, it's a good job to it's a good job to have. And look, especially working for yourself, my man. So let me know. Are you taking off Monday then? If you're your own boss, can you take Monday off, or are you going to go in, or have you been smart and maybe not book something in for this Monday? Look, I'll be interested to know. But look, I'm glad you're succeeding over there in Australia.
Yeah.
Many Irish people have gone abroad and everything else, especially during the recession and everything else here. I presume that's probably when you went abroad. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe you've been over there a hell of a lot longer. But look, I'm absolutely delighted to see, a fellow Irishman out there and really, blazing a trail over there in Australia, and being able to work for yourself over there. What a man.
William Kelly, all I can say too is the missus really likes, renovation, house renovation videos. And a lot of them are coming down from, Oceania, Australia region. So maybe William Kelly, maybe even featured in one of them. I'm not too sure. But all I can say is, the missus really loves actually the renovation videos. She always loves, to point out which YouTuber she likes from the renovation kind of stuff. So maybe you've actually been one of the people that put out those beautiful houses or apartments that they were remodeling. So do let me know, William. Really impressive, I would say. A lot of stuff is, a lot of beautiful homes are coming out of that region.
And William, what I want to say is as well, I know you probably know about the program because you live over there. Don't know whether you watch or not, but I want to see you on the block sometime, man. I watch the block. It's where they all renovate like 5-6 houses or apartments, and they're all up against each other. Very good, I must say, interior design. I know a lot of people say you're a bit weird, Dave, but I know and I enjoy it and I can't help it. But William Kelly,
who doesn't like a bit of interior design, Dave?
But look, let's crack on. Enough of us bullshitting around with interior designs, and the block and everything else. Let's move on. We're here for the football.
Absolutely. We are here for the football at the end of the day, Dave. And tied for second most progressive passes or progressive carries, is also Region, Dave. This is actually a bit similar to Kieran Tiny, Dave. And in fact, he has more progressive carries than I believe Kieran Tiny with 15, Dave. Very, very impressive. And also tied for second most carries into the final third. Again, this is a full pack, Dave, with the most progressive carries into a final third, with 6 progressive carries into the final third. And then, Dave, this is where, again, the respect needs to be put on Region's name here. The respect needs to be put on his name. 29 tackles and interceptions so far this season. The most tackles plus interceptions combined for any player in our team, Dave. 29. I mean, the man has also 18 interceptions so far this season. I'm pretty sure he almost leads the league at this rate, in his own position. I think he leads the league. I haven't checked, but I almost am positive he does. Leads the league for the most interceptions for his position, Dave, in the entire Premier League. The man knows how to see the game before it happens. He knows how to read the game. He knows how to see the dangers. He knows how to be aggressive. He's not a Ben Davies, Dave, where he's too scared, to step out and win the ball. He actually is almost too eager practically to win the ball. He wants to be able to win it high up the pitch, create a counterattack scenario. Like I said, he's almost like Marcelo in that regard from Real Madrid. That's why he even came from that Real Madrid academy, because that's what Marcelo used to do. He used to be able to read the game like that, win the ball high up the pitch, and then be able to create something from there. So all I can say, Dave, is most tackles and interceptions combined for our team is unbelievable. And then as well, most interceptions, 18 interceptions. I mean, the man gets stuck in for a living.
No, look, he definitely does. Look, Jack, I think the main thing to take away from this one is what you said there, is the football intelligence, the football IQ, and not doubting how much this guy reads the game. Interceptions aren't just luck, They're not luck.
It's not easy.
It's not, and it just goes to show, and the biggest thing I think we can take away from that, Jack, is the fact that he's reading the game very, very well. Very, very well, and I love to see it. We have a super chat here from William Kelly. He says, I'm here 12 years now, boys. I'm off Monday, but got my son. Love living over here. Well, look, my man, look, I know some people that go over don't like it and come home, but I know some people that go over and says it's the best decision they've ever made in their life, my man. And look, I'm glad, you're finding your feet out there. I'm actually very glad for you that you booked off Monday. Last thing I wanted you is waking up at 6 a.m. sore head after drinking rum, and having to go to work. It's not nice. I think we've all been there once or twice, especially over here, William. You know how some of them house parties can carry on. And look, I'm glad you love living over there. And with your son, look, he's got to be a yid. It's the end of.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to believe that he supports somebody else. He has to be a yid, William. He has to be a yid, my man. And look, how old is your son? My man? Big up, William's son, if he ever does watch in.
Yeah, William, absolutely legendary. Absolutely legendary. Hope you do take Monday off as well. But I'm also glad that you also are enjoying life, down under, in Australia as well. All I can say is, even one of my favorite pundits from The Guardian, Max Rushton, just moved down there, for his own misses as well. He seems to be enjoying it. So like David said, it definitely is, a beautiful place for a lot of people to be able to just maybe have a change of life, a change of routine. And it seems like it's worked out for you. So maybe that's just a bit of optimism for the rest of anybody that's also considering that. It does seem like it's a good transition for a lot of people, and happy it's worked out for you, William Kelly. Really am, actually, because maybe just gives me confidence that someone who I really admire, Max Rushton from The Guardian, hopefully it just gives him more luck, to also enjoy it down there.
No, 100%. I said the biggest thing for William is the change in weather as well.
Yeah, I do love the hot weather. I do love the hot weather, especially even in the winter. It's supposed to be quite beautiful still. Even being that far down there, I would say it's also supposed to be quite beautiful. So I'm told. But Sammy Play is saying, unpopular opinion. Dele Alli needs to be dropped on Sunday to release Indom Happy Meal. Dave, I think this one might be something for you. I would say maybe to respond. Then I can go after you.
No, look, all I'm going to say is, Jack, we were saying this earlier on.
Yep.
Look, we don't want to see Dele Alli. We would prefer to see Endom Happy Meal, Ronald McDombele, Endom Cheeseburger, whatever you want to call him, Endom Baller, Endom Bad Boy, Endom Big Boy, whatever you want to call the guy. Look, for me, I think he's the crucial to us winning this game, especially creating chances going forward. And I would love to see him in there. But if you're going to play him in there, you have to have Skip and Højbjerg behind him. The guys that are going to do the running, do his share of the running, and do his share of the tackling as well. But look, it's exactly what me and Jack were saying actually earlier on, because a lot of people we were watching around and they're all saying, Dele Alli, and I get it, probably will be Dele Alli, but in terms of, we want Ndombele in there, don't we, Jack?
No, I do think we do still at the end of the day do want Tanguy. I think we're envisioning that it will be Dele just because Dele has worked really hard practically. I said it earlier on Paxton Road TV. I think Dele's intentionally worked this hard off the offseason to practically be included in every single starting 11. He's almost winning over the manager, you might say, with how much he's working and how much he's working off the ball as well. Dele does have the most pressures. He does have the most also blocks, I believe, and even the most shots blocked as well. Is also quite high up there in tackles as well, Dele Alli. So he's actually been getting quite stuck in. I think even David said to me today, he has most distance covered than any other player as well on our side. So it does just show that Dele is actually kind of working for the club, working for the manager, working for us, working for the badge more than he ever has really before, I would say. So as much as we probably want to see Tanguy put into the side, because I do think Tanguy would be that X factor. He would be that difference, for being able to create chances. Dele, to a degree, is also really won over the manager, and so it's a really hard bargain. It's a really hard bargain. And maybe I would argue that we start with Dele Alli, see how he does. Maybe it's another opportunity for him to see how he can actually be better going forward, because as much as he's been good getting stuck in, I would say Dele Alli's kind of struggled, creating things. On the right-hand side against Wolves, he was very good at creating, but on the left-hand side, he does seem to struggle a bit. So all I can say is, hopefully he's able to create something against, the scum, and then maybe Tanguy can come on in the 60th, 70th minute. But I do envision actually Dele Alli starting this game. And maybe if Tanguy were to start, that could be a good thing. But I would say it's a bit of a risk of starting both of them at the same time, in my opinion, especially in this upcoming match away from home. But Sammy Playa, I would say this is not an unpopular opinion at all. As much as you probably, are trying to be, catering, to the Dele fans and whatnot, Sammy, all I can say, it's not really the most unpopular opinion. There are a lot of Tanguy fans in the audience. So, don't be too worried. Don't be too worried. And we're going to move on to our key player here, actually. Our key player is going to be Son Heung-min in this case. And Son Heung-min, or Heung-min Son, is actually, somebody that I would say, especially coming up against the scum, someone I really would say is a key player. I think everybody knows that at this rate. He has the most crosses in our side with 8, and that's not including corner kicks, everybody. That is not including corner kicks. He does have the most crosses. He actually comes off with some of the most key passes, as well as some of the most passes into our penalty area. Again, he actually doesn't, have as much as Reguilon in this case, which is very, very impressive. Again, only further test, how brilliant Reguilon is, that, he's still leading somebody like Sonny in that regard. He has the most shots, which it must be very stated, must have the most shots with 12 shots. And I think he also has the most shots on target as well. I couldn't include that both. I think maybe it went without saying, probably Harris Army, but he has the most shots as well. He has the most progressive passes received. And I would say this is an unbelievable statistic. The most progressive passes received. Those are the most forward passes received that are more than 10 yards received. And he has 32 progressive passes received, which is exactly why plenty of people have been saying he is absolutely key. He's actually almost, to a degree, even that going back to the Harry Kane, Son debate, he's almost more key in that regard than Harry Kane is, with the 32 progressive passes received. 32 progressive passes received. And I'm going to let David in on this, even though I think he has to give a bit of respect, as much as he's about to slate maybe, some of that regard, for that. Sorry, maybe wrong word to choose there, Dave. But I would just say the most progressive passes received, 32, Dave. And that's, again, passes that I do believe are more than 10 yards or more, 32 so far this season. I think that's way more than any Arsenal player. That's way more than practically most players in the Premier League at this rate, Dave. So all I can say is, 32 progressive passes received. This is why we need him in matches like that, because he's the guy that loves to get in behind. He's the guy that's brave to be able to run beyond the defenders, run beyond the back line, sit on the back shoulder of the defensive line, and be able to be that outlet to a degree.
Yeah, no, 100%. But look, Harry Kane plays his part by coming deeper and letting Son go in behind, creating the space and that. No, look, with Sonny, I'm only winding Sonny fans up now. No, look, I love Sonny. No, look, it's undeniable how crucial he is, Jack. Look, Kane needs his partner in crime. He's PIC.
Partner in crime, right?
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the two of them work fantastically together. And look, you can see key passes. They usually go into Kane's feet, crosses into Harry Kane. Second most passes straight into the penalty area. That's feeding Harry Kane. Or else what he likes to do is get around on the byline, skin a few people and try and cut one across. Look, more shots, which is what... Do you know what I actually really respect about Sonny, Jack, is... I don't know about everybody else out there, but for me, I barely see our players take shots from outside the box. Very, very rarely.
He loves a shot from outside the box.
Yeah, if it opens up, Jack, he will crack one. And that's what I respect. That's what I respect, because... Think about it, right? Sometimes at Tottenham, it's too easy because they know you're looking for the intricate passing behind or the 1-2 or slipping it through. But we need to have a danger from outside around the box, someone that's going to crack it. And Son, and the reason why you see, especially with more shots, is he loves cutting in. He loves cutting inside, onto his right foot as well, Jack. He absolutely loves cutting inside on that right foot, And as soon as it opens up, he will crack one. Most progressive passes received. Look, that's because he's always running. He's like a Duracell.
He's always running, Dave. He's always running. Also, maybe what you were saying, cutting inside. Second most players dribble pass, and he's also missed a game this season, Dave. So you were thinking maybe, if he hadn't missed one of those games, he'd probably actually be the highest. And then as well, Dave, maybe just to add further, truth to what you were just saying. Most touches in the attacking penalty area.
Yeah, exactly. Most touches in the attacking and penalty area as well. And look, most of them are him getting into penalty area himself. It's not the ball coming to him. It's him being in that penalty area, getting in there himself. And it just goes to show how brave he is, Jack. But, the most progressive passes received is another one that I'm impressed by, because if there's ever a stat that shows you a guy that makes himself available all the time to receive the ball and will make the hard yards to be able to put himself in that position to receive the ball, that's the stat right there. So big up, Sonny. Very, very impressed. And he's going to be absolutely crucial. And he gives us another dynamic, something else to worry about going forward as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, great stats there, Jack, on Sonny, I have to say.
And now it's time to break down those animations, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to break down maybe how, Spurs will be able to hurt the scum here. And we are going to go to our unsung hero, Dave, in this case, where it's going to be Reguilon, the bombing wingback. And it is going to be Reguilon in this scenario where he is going to be, in fact, being able to find actually, that bit of space, in this case, Dave, it's actually, I'm going to bring out another stat here with what Højbjerg just does right here. The most switches of play out of anybody in our team, it is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He has unbelievable ability to switch play here. He just pings it across field, finds, and Reguilon actually is also very good at finding actually that inside pass, especially he doesn't need to cross it, loop it into the box like some people do kind of blindly, Dave. Reguilon actually really tries to pick out his passes. And that's probably why he has the most passes into the penalty area completed than any other player in our side, is because exactly what he does here. He realizes that it's a bit crowded in the box, and he finds Harry Kane, at the top of the box just waiting there. And Harry Kane then just cracks it and curls it from distance in this scenario. But again, it's just kind of two stats built into one here. It's actually, the Arsenal trying to press us, higher up on our own pitch, and then they find Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in a bit of space, who just pings it, to Reguilon. Reguilon then just continues to bomb forward, finds Harry Kane, and then Harry Kane just curls it into top bins. And it could be Ramsdale, it could be Leno. I couldn't care less. It's going top bins regardless, Dave, no matter what the keeper is. Maybe the haircut, maybe it's just the haircut for the cameras, him missing the ball is all that matters. And I would say maybe Leno might have a bit of a better one in that scenario. But for me, Dave, it's just as, it's two stats built into one. It's Reguilon, being able to, carry the ball into the final third, being able to find the passes, that maybe other fullbacks wouldn't. But it's also Højbjerg maybe finding this pass here when, we're trying to be pressed, because I do think Højbjerg will do this. He is Højbjerginho this season, Dave. I've said this a million times. It's Højbjerginho in the middle of the field. He's able to find these passes that a lot of people aren't giving him credit for. And I would say Højbjerg is really showing out his offensive creative game this season. Again, maybe, despite Reguilon, having the most shot creating actions for our team, another stat about Højbjerg, everybody, it is Højbjerg, in fact, with the second most shot creating actions in our entire side as well. So Højbjerg, he is practically one of the most unsung as well as key players in our side. So the only reason he's not there is because he's been there every other time, David. So we had to give a bit of respect to other players in the side. But I would just say Højbjerg, he has the most switches of play out of any other player in our side. Some of the most chances created out of any player in our side. And then as well in this scenario, it's just Reguilon, finding that bit of space beyond Tomiyasu and beyond Pepe. And I would say Pepe probably might abandon you might say Tomiyasu lots of times because he's probably not too defensively inclined, as well as, Reguilon does like to get up and down the pitch. He likes to get stuck in as well as get forward. I'm pretty sure Pepe, after maybe 30 or 40 minutes might get pretty tired of that from Reguilon. So I'm pretty sure there might be a moment or two where Reguilon might just expose maybe his lack of fitness or his lack of effort.
Yeah, look, one thing I just want to add on to that, I think you've covered everything really expertly well. One thing I just want to add on to that, Jack, is how much of a breath of fresh air Reguilon has been for Sundown on this left-hand side, Jack. Because
right.
With Reguilon being able to bomb forward, with him being able to carry the ball, with him being able to cross the ball and pass the ball, or even just making them runs when Sonny's on the ball, making them runs outside, which brings the fullback with him, which means Son can cut inside. It's been a breath of fresh air for Sonny, and Reguilon has been. I'm so glad you've highlighted him, with the stats and on this too, because look, it makes a change from having Ben Davies trying, or Son asking him to make the overlap.
Ben Davies would get a nosebleed in this scenario, Dave. Yeah.
Look, it makes a change from Son asking Ben Davies to do the overlap, and he's like, I can't do that. I have to talk to Dyer and stand beside Dyer like he's so famous he likes to do. So no, I just wanted to add that in. That was all, Jack.
No, I think that's it. It's just maybe any Ben Davies fans out there, I would just say, Ben Davies would probably need, maybe an oxygen mask, maybe getting this far forward, at this rate. It just shows why Reguilon is the one that just continues to get picked. Even last season when people were slating, Reguilon, and I do agree, probably deserved it for not being so defensively proficient or defensively efficient. This is why he kept getting picked. Even under Ryan Mason's side, this is why he kept getting picked. It's because he's the only player in our team that is willing to get forward and be able to create chances like this. But let's move on. Reguilon, the bombing wingback, is absolutely a huge source of creativity for us. A huge source of creativity. And Harry Kane hold-up play, I don't know how many times we're going to have to highlight this. It just is practically one of the best hold-up play people in the world. I don't think it goes without saying. Either dropping deep or even just, having a man on his shoulder. There's no better man, in my opinion, in the world than being able to find a pass when being held up by maybe a defender right on him, if you ask me, Dave. So in this case, it is Harry Kane. He actually finds a brilliant situation. And this is actually, I'm trying to recreate, in fact, one of those goals that, he and Lucas had against Rennes, David, where Harry Kane had a man right on him, right on his back. In this case, it's Thomas Partey, or it could be Gabriel or a defender. And he finds Lucas running in behind because Lucas does that thing where he loves to cut inside with his right foot and then maybe do a bit of a 1-2. In this scenario, it is actually Lucas being able to, Højbjerg skins this man, Odegaard, and again, Højbjerg Genio, just again, being able to be past his man and find maybe a pass. And it's just Harry Kane and Lucas kind of combining here, and Lucas cuts it back to Harry Kane. Harry Kane just has a crack from outside the box. And maybe you brought this up earlier, Dave, but now that we have maybe somebody like Harry Kane and Sonny in the same time in the same side, we have two players that are actually to a degree, quite selfish, when they are close to the box, which is actually what we need in matches like this. Players that are willing to maybe be brave enough to take, shots from distance, players that are brilliant enough to maybe challenge the keeper in this scenario. A lot of the, the goal that we created earlier with Reguilon and Kane, that goal that Harry Kane animated scoring was a bit similar to, the goggles, that Dele Alli, pass where Harry Kane just cracks it from the corner, and with the goggles on, Dave, with the glasses on, that was, a bit of one that we've seen before in a London derby, but as well, I think this one is plenty, possible where Harry Kane has a bit of that just unbelievable. This is actually a bit maybe similar to that Crystal Palace goal from last season where he just had that unbelievable shot past Gaeta. And so, Dave, I don't know, maybe it's just a bit of Lucas, Harry Kane kind of combination, but it is that hold-up play that nobody can deny.
No, look, what I will say is you will see it throughout the game, but more so when Ndombele is not in the team. When Ndombele is in the team, he's further up the field. But more so when he's not in the team, you see Harry Kane dropping deep, bringing that hold-up play, bringing in the players around him. But look, it's very important that Lucas and Son do make the yards to get up in and around him and help him out, because, look, you can put a ball into someone to hold up all day long. But at the end of the day, if you've no one in and around him, what use of it? So we have to get legs in and around Harry Kane. I know, I think he's crucial. I really do. I think it's going to kickstart his season tomorrow, Jack. He loves a goal against Arsenal, and there's one incoming. I can feel it. I can feel it. You know, Harry Kane, all them words that everyone's been speaking about him, it's been hurting. I've spoken to him in the Harry Kane whisper. It hurts him. You know,
he's also fresh off the new haircut, Dave. You know, even maybe for this one, he might even just make sure that, you know, the lines are just right, you know, right by the ear line and whatnot. I'm just assuming, you know, he has enough money, Dave, you know, to be able to get a haircut, you know, maybe even twice in 2 weeks, you know, you would say, David. So hopefully the haircut, you know, the hairline and whatnot, maybe even the flow might just be perfect for a game like this.
No, it will be. Look, you know, he'll get the old hairs on the ears singed while he's at it and everything. Trust me, he goes for the full works. You know, probably a bit of a hot towel shave there, maybe. Who knows? But honestly, look, I know people have a lot to say about him right now, but you can't underestimate his hold-up play. You know, look, he's a scorer of goals, and he assists goals too. Look, we're going to need him tomorrow, a big game, and we're going to need his hold-up play. And look, it should be easy. Let me note this. White is absolutely shite with the ball in the air. You put the ball into Harry Kane, he's just going to fly squat him. Gabriel, the other side, Harry Kane has too much experience for him. Harry Kane, all right, and a lot of people don't really notice this, but he's one of the most cleverest players in world football, Jack. The way he uses his body to draw free kicks, pick up fouls, and everything else, he's very, very clever.
Does it in slow motion, Dave. He does it in slow motion, even when it looks like he's moving in slow motion. I mean, that's how it is for him, despite how slow he's moving. Sometimes it is slow motion for him because he knows exactly what he's doing. I agree, Dave, entirely. And so maybe another world-class player that probably Arsenal in no sense, you know, could ever dream of having, Dave, you know, like similar to Harry Kane, a world-class player, but it is Sonny, and I'm going to call him Mr. Reliable, especially maybe in these clutch games like this. I do think, these are the matches where Sonny absolutely comes alive. And in fact, like you said earlier, Dave, and I couldn't say it better myself, his partner in crime, you know, Harry Kane's partner in crime, it is Sonny in this case. And I do have two different animations for Sonny in this scenario, Dave. And it is Sonny, you know, they're practically two different scenarios, him running behind and just, you know, kind of beating his player. I like this one actually, Dave, and it's a bit kind of quick, so you just have to watch it over and over again. But Højbjerg, he wins the ball back with Dele here and actually just finds a beautiful thread of through ball. And he does have the most through balls in our entire squad. And again, second most shot creating actions in our entire side as well. I do think Højbjerg has the most progressive passes, you know, in our entire side as well, Dave. So it just shows, you know, somebody like Højbjerg, let's say we win the ball off an Odegaard here, you know, just being a bit sleepy on the ball, maybe being a bit too hesitant, or, you know, and then Dele wins it back, and then Højbjerg just threads in, you know, the incoming Sonny, you know, finding, you know, the pace beyond his, everybody's chasing after him, you know, chasing his coattails. You know, we don't have to dive too much into it, Dave, but let's just say, you know, maybe a scenario where Højbjerg just finds that sexy through ball, you know, in behind for somebody like Sonny.
Yeah, look, I've already spoke, you know, everything I want to say on Sunday. I got it all out on the first one. Look, all I'm going to add to this one is it's a run we've seen Son do so many times from the outside in, and he always catches the fullback out. He always catches them flat-footed. And people say, if people want to say I'm lying, go back, watch the Southampton game last year. He got 4 goals off the exact same run every single time. He loves that run, perfectly put together, Jacko. We'll get the next formation out, and then we have a super chat there from Rob.
Absolutely. We'll just do this animation. This one's actually kind of almost like, it's not really like Burnley, Dave, you know, with that, you know, Puskas kind of goal winner, Dave, from Sonny, but it's a bit similar. I would say it's Reguilón again, the bombing wingback, finding Sonny, and then Sonny just takes it beyond everybody, you know, finds that, you know, space in the middle of the field, like you said, cutting inside. And again, Sonny has some of the most dribbles passed by any other player in our team. So he just skins a few players here and then just has an absolute crack from distance. You know, maybe just hits the top ends, maybe even far post, curls it. You know, I don't need to tell Sonny how to finish it, Dave. I don't need to tell him how to do it. But I can say, Dave, it's just he beats a bunch of players here. Even I would just say, you know, it's Mr. Reliable because the two scenarios that created, Dave, are just world-class goals. You know, at this rate, you know, it's just world-class ability, world-class goals. It's even hard, you know, to recreate it. So maybe next time, Dave, we'll do it maybe a bit more 3D, you might say, for these recreations, probably next time. But all I can say is that with Sonny and Harry Kane together, you might even see a world-class goal possibly.
No, look, you definitely will. And look, son, look, like I was saying, it's about getting that ball, from the more or less, even that's more or less on the outside, cuts inside there on the right foot. He loves it, doesn't he, Jack? He absolutely loves it. Look,
and the Region combination, like you said before, Dave, the Region combination is definitely something people might have overlooked.
No, 100%. But see, this is what I was talking about. With Regulon making that run on the outside, it gives Son space on the inside, and he can take advantage of it. Look, he got a goal similar to Arsenal last year, running down the outside, cut on the right boot, into the back of the net. So I'd expect to see it again.
I definitely would expect to see it again. But, maybe the Sonny goals, I would just say, everybody, maybe they're not too complex, but it just has to show. I mean, Sonny is world class. Even I put him as, earlier, Dave, he's Mr. Reliable in these games, especially in, the big matches, especially London derbies. I would say is Mr. Reliable, Heung-min Son, so Sung Hun-min. So all I can say is Sonny, definitely somebody I could say could pull off another Puskas winner. I would say maybe against this gun, but I might be getting a bit ahead of myself as per usual. But all I can say is, maybe Harry Kane and Sonny are fully capable from having a fully, absolute cracker from distance, I would say. And that's what those two creations are. So I would say is, do expect maybe one or two of them, maybe having a crack from maybe 20 yards, 30 yards, and just testing maybe the goalkeeper, whether it's Ramsdale or Leno.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Rob Coyne with the big super chat here. He says, lads, big up. My problem is 8 years ago we had 4 strikers. Now we have 1. For how many seasons? It's not fair on Harry. I love Sonny, and Gil already is worth his weight in gold. Can't wait for Sarr either.
Lots to break down on this. Lots to break down. And Rob Coyne, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, Dave, you go.
Yeah. No, look, what I would say is, look, it's hard times. Look, I remember having. Look, I always remember having 4 strikers at Tottenham Hotspur. To be honest with you, I've always remembered that. But look, we used to have Keane, Defoe, Berbatov. We had Ben Pavlyuchenko. There's loads of strikers at Tottenham. We've always had 3 or 4 strikers who know where the net is. And yeah, look, I completely get it. And it's not fair on Harry Kane. It's not. Look, you're asking him, but do you know what? Some of the other players don't make it fair on Harry Kane. I'm not going to go into them too much, but Winks, Davies, Doherty, them sort of guys, because when Kane can have a rest, when Son is supposed to have a rest, when Højbjerg's supposed to have a rest, ultimately we have to rely on them because these guys can't get the job done. So we're like, oh, Harry, Son, Højbjerg, come on off the bench, guys. Oh, but Bosch said, no, look, I know I said here you're going to be resting, but them twats are out there playing. So you're going to have to get ready. And that's the problem. But look, I do agree we should have another backup striker. But I'm going to say a quality backup striker. I don't want to hear any more of this Vinicius talk that was floating around a few months ago, which I put an end to with all the stats I put out, by the way. But, a quality backup striker. It is frustrating. Look, Sonny, world class. Gil will be world class, my man. He definitely will be. Papa Martin Sarr, look, hopefully he can come in and hit the ground running next season, my man. But Jacko, do you want to say anything to Robbie?
No, I would just say, it's a bit of an unfortunate scenario to have so many strikers to choose from before. I actually, in that case, that, like I said before, I was actually quite privileged to become kind of a Spurs fan during that era. And then to see that all kind of flow away, to then be treated with the Vincent Jansons and the Soldados of the world after that. I would just say, like, especially Soldado for me was just absolutely, I just couldn't imagine the pain that I was probably going through as a Spurs fan, considering what David was just describing, the Berbatovs, the Pavlyuchenkos of the world. It really was actually an unfortunate time, to become even a Spurs fan, just to see that all fade away from me, just to see it all fade away. But I would say then, in my opinion, the Hill Messi revolution is coming through. Again, Rob Coyne, I said to my idol, Statman Dave, I said, do you believe in Hill Messi? And he understood the reference, but only just speaks to the idea of the player. I mean, the guy's not even a Spurs fan, and he knew what I meant by Hill Messi. And as well, when I saw that pen, he even understood that reference as well. Just people are understanding, what Hill Messi is becoming. People are becoming Hill Leavers every day. So all I can say is it's just a revolution. It's a movement that you just have to be a part of at this rate with Hill Messi. So I just am excited. He's not going to be a striker by any means, Rob Coyne, but, I would certainly take Brian Hill, at any day. If I was getting the next, Spanish sensation, since maybe Tapas, I would probably say, this is the guy that I would love to have. So Sonny, Harry Kane, Hill. It's a striking force for the future, and maybe Hill Messi might be able to take on the reins of at least one of them maybe in the future. So I'd love to see it. And I think they're all worth their weight in gold, if not even more. Even at this rate, Rob Coyne, I even saw that Saffron is actually worth more than even gold. So I would say that Hill and Sonny and Harry Kane are worth far more in their weight in gold. Totally agree with you.
Nah, look, big yourself.
And Pape Sarr, again, can't wait for Pape Sarr. Do check out the scout report that David and I did have on Pape Sarr. I probably have to go way back in the archives for it, but it is still there. And I would say David and I did break down maybe the stats quite expertly and also efficiently. I think it was even under like 12 minutes, Dave. So we did it quite well.
No, it was. Looking, it's just a quick watch, guys. So make sure you do find it on Pape Sarr. But Rob, look, I know you were champion Mayo to win the Sam Maguire and everything else. I'm sorry it didn't happen for you, my man. But look, we'll get the North London Derby for a win for you on Sunday. If we don't, you're just cursed, Rob. You're just cursed. But big up, Rob, my man. I really appreciate the support. Absolutely love it. Big yourself.
He wants to know about his starting 11 from the Scum against the Scum Dev. He goes, Hugo, Jaffet, Cudi Romero, Sanchez. This is again. Oh, he's gone for a back five. I said I would not be disappointed with this, Rob, especially considering we're away from home. I would not be disappointed by this. In fact, I'd be quite optimistic about it, I would argue. But I would argue that if you're playing Jaffet, in a back five, seems a bit, maybe not really worth, Jaffet's, a defensive ability. I'd probably just put him in that back three, back five, if you ask me. But maybe that just gives Region a bit more license to go forward. You could argue, but I would probably put Emerson instead of maybe one of those. I would keep Jaffet on the pitch regardless. I think he's one of the best defenders already in the Premier League, in my opinion. So maybe I might take out someone like maybe Sanchez or Romero or something. But I would argue I still love it because then maybe that gives Region more license to go forward. Højbjerg, Gino, Skippy, Hill, Son, Kane. Again, Hill, Son, Kane would just be, it's absolute sex. It's absolute sex seeing those three together. I think it would be unbelievable. So I actually like it. I like to see it, Rob Coyne. I like to see it.
No, 100%. Look, for me, I'm going with a 4-2-3-1. I'm going with Hugo, Jaffet right back, Reggie left back. I'm going with Romero and Dyer, believe it or not. I'm going with Højbjerg and Skip with Ndombele just ahead of them. And then I'm going to go Son, Kane and Lucas with Gill to come off the bench when Arsenal are getting tired, my man. But big yourself up, Rob Coyne, absolute legend. And Gaguma says, Son and Kane duo, absolutely loving it.
The best partner in crime, Gaguma. They're like two detectives trying to solve the hardest case in the world. They're like two mathematicians trying to solve the hardest math problem of all time. They're the best people you could ever have to do it. If you're trying to create the best goal of all time, it's Sonny and Kane, Gaguma, for sure, in my opinion. But really do appreciate it.
Thank you for the Kim Min Jae scout report, Jack. Really enjoyed it. Big up.
It's only there's going to be a part 2, Gaguma. I just have to figure out the legality and stuff. Responding to highlight reactions, because I really think that seeing his highlights would be a huge service to everybody, because he's nicknamed the Monster for a reason. Gaguma, he's nicknamed the Monster for a reason, and I think the highlights would show that. But it's practically impossible to explain that in the stats, especially when I'm working with Chinese Super League statistics, which are very hard to come by. So all I can say is I really want to be able to respond to the highlight reels for you guys, but that will be soon to come. The part 2 is coming, Gaguma. The part 2 is coming, but let's just break down the rest of it, Dave. Now it's finally, we've gotten off the end of the hit mountain here. We're just going to ride down very quickly here. Again, it's a nonstop freight train, so let's just do this here. Players to target. We'll just go through it quickly. Odegaard, if he is playing that role that he did against Burnley, some people are saying it's going to be Granit Xhaka. I would still say target Granit Xhaka, in my opinion. I just would still say target him, to a degree, especially because one of them is going to have to get further forward, David, especially at home. They're going to need to get further forward. So, they're not going to be the ones sitting back. So I would say Odegaard is going to be one to target, especially if he's sitting as a more defensive player in that midfield. If he's more of a number 8, I would absolutely target him. I would say Højbjerg just has to put on a few naughty tackles on him, just show him who's boss, show him the weight room. And then as well as Ben White, I would say, I think, Dave, what was it? He has 50% aerial dual win percentage or something like that. He actually has a horrible aerial win percentage. He's been constantly dominated in the air. So I would just say, but just put Harry Kane on him. Harry Kane, just put him on his shoulder the whole match, and just let him just dominate Ben White. And that means then I would say Gabriel is partnered with him. As much as people like to rate Gabriel, Dave, this guy has a few heated moments. He actually can get, it's even more than like Sanchez or something. This guy really puts in like tackles that are sometimes like, what are you doing? Like that's an early yellow or that's an early red, and I would say also, maybe with what I just said, if we're targeting Ben White, what will happen? Does Gabriel know, he has to either help out his teammate, or does he have to realize that, he's going to be a bit more isolated where he's just not going to have anybody to mark? And how will he handle that? And I would just say the two center backs, especially in a back four, Dave, if they go for a back four, I would just say absolutely target the two center backs.
No, look, do you know what? You just take it straight out of the Thomas Frank handbook, Jack. Yeah, look, all he done all day was put balls in on top of them. They cannot handle it. Sky exposed.
Burnley did it the whole match as well.
Yeah. Sky exposed them first game of the season, Jack. They've done a massive thing on this that they cannot deal with balls into the box, and that's why your Reguilon thing could come into play tomorrow. Your Reguilon movement, the bombing wing back, because all we need to do, trust me, is just flood their box with balls. They cannot deal with it. They don't want it. I've seen them do some awful things. They're letting the ball bounce. They're letting it go over the head. They're mistiming their jumps. So just put balls in there. It makes them erratic.
Ashley Barnes could have had a hat trick, Dave. He could have had a hat trick against them, in my opinion.
No, 100%. 100%. And this is what I'm saying. Look, Burnley got dry off it, or we're getting dry off it. Brentford bet them at the start of the season doing it. Believe it or not, even Man City done what Thomas Frank done and started putting balls in the box and got their goals. They completely changed their game plan for the Arsenal game and just exposed them doing that. It's all we got to do. Trust me. Just get down the sides, put balls in the box. Them two guys were absolute gobshites, waste of money, and they don't want to attack the ball the way opposition strikers do.
Yeah, definitely. Dave, really well put there. Really well put there. I just say, we don't even have to complicate it, Dave. Even go a bit route one against them, Dave, and we will absolutely find success. Our key battle here, and we've highlighted this before, so I think it's just a bit of, re-emphasizing it, Dave, in my opinion. It's just Reguilon and Sonny. I think they'll have an excellent combination. And the person that's going to have to be responsible for handling them is Takahiro Tiramisu in this case, Dave. And I would say, in my opinion, Dave, as much as he had a great game and as much as he is, looking very, very good in the Premier League, he has not come up against an overload like that. We've seen Reguilon handle Riyad Mahrez, Joao Cancelo. We've seen him handle Ismail Assar. We've seen him able, to handle overloads. This will be the real test. Can Takahiro Tiramisu handle that maybe Sonny, and Reguilon combination? And I would say that's some of the best wing back as well as winger combination, in the Premier League, because those guys are very forward thinking and very, very good together. They are almost in sync at this rate, I would say. So will he be able to stand the test? I'm not so sure, Dave.
No, look, it'd be very, very interesting. I don't think he will. That's just me personal. I don't think he will, and there's not more I can add to it than what you already have. The only thing I can say is Rob Coyne has put in $1, Jack, because he doesn't want you to put the Arsenal jersey on the Harris Army content. Look, what I will say
a little less of it next time, Rob, I promise.
Look, what I will say is, as much as it kills us, it has to be done for these graphics that we put together for this and everything else. I'm sorry. I know you don't like seeing it. Believe me, I don't like cropping them out or anything like that. We really don't. But sometimes just to produce content like this, it has to be done, my man.
Legendary comment. Legendary comment. Legendary comment. The next key battle here, we have a few, and just to finish it off, it is going to be Tanganga, Japhet Manhandler against these two. He's going to be dealing with another similar overload. It's actually two overloads on opposite sides of the pitch, Dave, in this scenario. Japhet Manhandler, he's dealt with Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling, at the same time, as well as a fullback of Man City. He's practically, David, he doesn't have enough arms, to handle all these guys at once. So all I can say is I really do hope that he can have anywhere near a similar performance, because, handling these two together is going to be a real test, but I think he's definitely could stand up to it, Japhet Manhandler.
Yeah, no, look, honestly, they don't stand a chance, Jack. Look at this. Look at the size of them, honestly.
Just look at the smile that he has right there, Dave. It's just like the guy just knows how to break bones for a living, Dave. It's just, he almost gets a little sickening, and just he's probably even licking his lips, just thinking about, which one he probably wants to handle first. It's just thinking, and even, like we even said, Dave, with Japhet Manhandler, the only thing that maybe is his weakness is that he wants to take two of them home at the same time. and he only knows he can take one because he's only so young, Dave. You're only allowed to take one toy home, from the treasure chest. And, he's probably going to have to pick between one of them.
Nah, look, it's this old classic case. Look, they'll turn up, they'll put in a missing persons report for Saka and Tierney, and then a week later they'll appear when the missus goes to wash his trousers and be like, oh, I'm after pulling Saka and Tierney out your pocket. Oh yeah, I forgot about them. I just took them home for a souvenir. Absolutely love it. But big up. No, honestly, I have no problems there. He's going to handle it.
In this case, it's going to be Højbjerg basically versus that left-sided midfielder. It could be Odegaard in this case. It could be Granit Xhaka. I just feel like Højbjerg is going to have a big keep out. He's just going to have to absolutely crack into somebody, Dave. He's going to have to absolutely crunch somebody at times. And I would say Højbjerg probably should have just been Højbjerg versus Arteta because, he's probably going to be holding back, Højbjerg from even tackling, the opposing manager as well, Dave. It's just going to be Højbjerg basically versus the whole team. I think it's a key battle, but I'm going to highlight Odegaard. In case Odegaard plays, I would say if Højbjerg can take him out of the game as well as taking, Emile Smith-Rowe out of the game, I would say that's all their creativity gone. And I think we'd definitely be, looking at maybe a 1-0, a 2-0, even more than that if we were able to take them out of the game. Could be, Granit Xhaka versus Højbjerg. I would still absolutely back our man. I mean, Pierre, like I said, he just goes by one name. It's Pierre, it's Højbjerg, it's the Viking. It's just an unbelievable player, and I think he'll be able to handle them quite easily.
Yeah, look, honestly, he better wishes he doesn't come up against the brick house because there's only going to be one winner. Look, you take him out of the game, it's done and dusted, Jack. Easy peasy, 3 points.
They better have a protective crew in front of Arteta as well, just say because, Arteta is probably never even going to come out into his own, coach's box just because he knows that means Højbjerg might see him and maybe start running after him. So hopefully Arteta might just be up in, the stands. He might think for this one, just in case maybe Højbjerg runs after him. All I can say is, best of luck to Arteta because that guy's going to be finding you in the tunnel.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And look, it brings us to the end, Jacko.
It does bring us to the end. And everybody, I do hope you enjoyed it. That is the end of Stats with Jack. Apologize for it running a bit long here, but it is, it is the North London Derby. It is maybe a bit of a late night owls, kind of session. So do appreciate you all, do let us know, if there's anything we might have missed out on, if there anything, kind of sort of simulations or what that maybe we should have considered. But we do appreciate you guys for sticking along. Honestly, we didn't think David and I would have this much for this. That would be a bit of a smaller classroom for this one. But all I can say now is, in case you want to stick with us longer, class is dismissed for this. It's been brilliant to have you guys. And hopefully you'll be the smartest ladies and gentlemen in the pub, coming Sunday.
No, 100%. It definitely will be. Like I said, they'll be in there at noon tomorrow, whistling, walking in, sitting there at the end of the bar, waiting for someone to spark the convo. And they're just going to absolutely lash the stats at them. You can see it coming. But look, guys, why we let Jack plug the flat cap and tell us where what's coming up tomorrow and stuff like that. If you have enjoyed the show, guys, feel free to send in a super chat, show your appreciation, and it is a great way to help support me and Jack on this YouTube journey, and it can't be done without the support, guys. So look, I know not everybody can, so if not, no worries. But big yourselves up, and thanks for sticking with us. To these early hours. I know some of you it's early morning, so big up. But look, Jack, what are we doing tomorrow?
Well, everybody, in case you're looking for those pre-nerves, in case you just can't get enough of David and I, if you're just looking maybe to relax, also because David and I need to take a load off as well. We're just trying to maybe think about something other than this North London Derby. Definitely check us out for this watch along tomorrow. It's going to be actually Dave and I probably oohing and ahhing, practically drooling over Haaland tomorrow. We're going to be watching, Haaland against Borussia Mönchengladbach. That is Borussia Dortmund versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. I believe the game's at 5:30 UK time tomorrow. That is 12:30 USA time tomorrow. So Dave and I, we're practically going to be doing the watch along right around kickoff. So it's not like we're doing a big, pre-up for anything. It's just basically a match. In case you're going to be watching that match, might as well just watch it with us, especially because Dave and I, we always talk about, what players, we want to have a better mentality, what players we want to really fight for the badge. So that's why Dave and I, we do kind of nerd out a bit over Haaland, just because that guy is an absolute monster. And so we will just say, if you like Erling Haaland, all I can say is, definitely tune in for that one. It's going to be over at Flat Cap Euro Talk. We're doing a watch along tomorrow, just like how we maybe do the watch alongs here for Spurs. We're doing one in between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Dortmund tomorrow. We're not going to be as passionate about it probably by any means, but certainly I would say you get same laughs, same jokes, also the same sort of humor for sure, as well as, some of the same anecdotes that Dave and I definitely love to do as well. So I would just say, if you're looking for somebody to do a watch along with for some of the games tomorrow, definitely check out that Bundesliga match between Borussia Dortmund, Borussia Mönchengladbach for a little bit of a Holland fest.
No, 100%. Look, I can't wait to sit there and ooze over the guy. I'm a really big fan of Haaland. I have been since he's been at Red Bull Salzburg. Massive, massive fan of the guy. I think he's going to go to the very top of the game. I think he'll break numbers that maybe people have never really seen before. And look, make sure you join us over there for it. Look, me and Jack, we can sit back, relax. We don't even really have to analyze the game properly. We can just be in awe of Haaland. And look, Dortmund is a team I do like over in Germany, so should be very good, guys. Look, make sure you do tune in for that. Kickoff, I think, is at 5 in and around 5 p.m. I think it is 5 p.m. kickoff. So, guys, make sure you do tune in for that. And then after we finish with the watch along on the Dortmund game tomorrow, guys, make sure you tune in tomorrow night for the preview for the Arsenal game, where, of course, we will have one or two guests on, and we'll be picking their brains and getting their thoughts. And as usual, your boy here will have some absolutely cracking questions. But look, most importantly, guys, please put all the big up for Jack in the comments. Look, the only thing I do for this show is I just make the background and the graphics and stuff like that. But everything else, the animations, the stats and everything else, it's your boy Jack here that goes off and finds everything he needs to for that. So absolutely big him up, guys. It's a very hard thing to do to put all this together. Look, it may not be for some of the bigger, more experienced YouTubers that have all that experience, but for me and Jack, it is hard because we don't have all that experience. We're only new to the game. So big up, Jack.
We're becoming better every week. I would say the show has only gotten better every week. In fact, weirdly, the show has actually become more efficient yet longer at the same time every week. So that's all I can say, Dave. Sorry to cut you off.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And Gaguma says, thank you for all your hard work. So much fun. Gaguma, really appreciate it. I really do appreciate that.
Appreciate you, Gaguma. Appreciate you.
Absolute legend. Absolute legend. But look, guys, there you have it. The link here for the Flat Cap Euro Talk, guys, it is here. Make sure you get on that, get over, smash that subscribe, and set the reminder for that watch along tomorrow for the Dortmund Gladbach game. And we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 9:30, guys. For the preview of tomorrow's game.
Cuba99. I saw you earlier. Cuba99 joined me for. What a legendary comment. What a legendary comment. I saw Cuba99 earlier with Paxton Road. I was joined by Cuba99 earlier. I believe she said, I'm not sure. So Cuba, do let me know. But I believe he or she said, it was actually, I'm actually getting a bit scared, that I'm stalking Jack. And she said, or he said, I'm not actually, trying to at this rate. So Kuva, don't you worry. We'll just find each other in the same room at all times. So maybe we'll just, be able to get a room together at a certain point, be able to talk stats and whatnot, talk tactics. At this rate, you can't avoid me. This rate, you can't avoid me, Kuva.
I think by looking at this, he wants to watch porn, Jack. He doesn't want to be in the
room. Kuva, sorry about that. Sorry, Kuva. Sorry, Kuva. I really do appreciate, though. Absolute legend at this rate. Really do appreciate you.
No, 100%. Well, look, guys, it's been a long, busy day for myself and Jack. We are going to leave it there. You want to hear what Ben the Sim has, what their thoughts on this North London derby is? Check the video we done yesterday with the guys. Absolutely well to knowledge and a great show, I have to say. But the Harris Army, as always, we love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really, really do appreciate it. And the Flat Cap Army and the Dave Army. Thank you so much for all your support. Smashing that like button, the subscribe button, the super chats, the financial support, which is absolutely massive. You have no idea, guys, how much it really helps out, especially the fact we have no sponsorship and everything else. But, guys, we love you. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Nuno we trust. All aboard the express train. Choo-choo. We're going through the Emirates on Sunday, starting at 4:30 p.m. And by roughly around 6 p.m., we should be, honestly, doing the conga around the Emirates and doing better dance moves than Jesse Lingard. So at the end of the day, in Nuno we trust. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.